drink beer tomorrow night. I can't tonight. What? I get home. I gotta be a lawyer. I got a shitload of stuff to read.
I can't believe it. Take it this long. I never bought anything. Why the hell should I?
What? Yeah, I can't do it tonight. You see your brother? Yeah. You gave me what? Yeah, he went gone.
Funny, I forget. They have a city service director a week down there. I don't know how many I've talked to guys. He says, they're afraid to be sued. Like, somebody's head. The city ain't. That's what I think. I'm just, after that, I quit. I don't know what to say anymore. Because I don't know what else to do. Take care. Bye. You hear from me. In fact, I might even mention your name. In a nice way. Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this.
Okay. Thank you.
She wants to sign up with her. Rose. She wants to speak, I think.
Oh, sure. I came. Come over here. Just sign in. Yeah, yeah. There's a. Oh, yeah.
So you just gotta write your name.
Hi. Just write your name right there. Yeah.
That's my address, right?
Yeah. Is that Joan
Joan
Melster?
Meister.
Meister. I'm sorry.
Meister.
What's that an E?
Hi, long time no see. Very good, honey, very good. No, I know. You?
But she's gonna come, we can't talk. So you can say your thing.
Right now,
Good to see you. That's our brother always said.
No. You're on here, or you just coming up in public?
no, yeah, I'm coming up to talk about temporary passes they give the city.
You can say all you want, we can't say.
You can't, you listen.
I can't respond.
You just listen.
Yes, and then I can put them on a piece.
I've never done this before.
No, just say what you want, and then.
I'm ready.
The meeting of the City Council will come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Council DeFlorio, Della Sola. Here. Council DeFlorio. Council Hanlon. Yes. Council Mangan.
Yeah.
Council Marchese.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Here.
Council Napolitano.
Here.
Council Sacchetta.
Here.
Council Sani.
Yes.
Council Simonelli.
Present.
Council Capone.
Present.
11 members present, Mr. President.
11 present. We have a quorum. Please rise and salute the flag. If we could please remain standing for a moment of silence. Recently, we lost Joseph LaRusso Jr., who's a retired member of the Everett Fire Department. I believe he retired out of lieutenant. And he also owned Best Realty for a number of years. So if we could please just have a moment of silence for him, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Before the clerk reads the first piece of business, 2 points from the chair on behalf of the council. First, I'd like to thank the superintendent for the photos you see on our back wall. He was up here a little earlier, and we did a little photo session. It's the very last joint convention, and then it's the members who've served in both branches of government. So they look great. They fit the decorum of the room, and we're very appreciative, and we thank him for his thoughtfulness and kindness. And the other thing I would like to do on behalf of the council is I would like to congratulate one of our colleagues, Councilor Simonelli, for advancing forward from the primary. So congratulations on that.
I appreciate very much, people. Thank you very much.
Clerk, read the first item of business.
Item number 1, Mr. President, is an order, is a public hearing being ordered by the City Council of the City of Everett as follows: to grant the petition from National Grid to install an overhead system located at the southerly side of Shute Street to originate from pole 1793, which is located on the northerly side of Shute Street, then proceed in the southerly direction crossing Shute Street over, across, and upon the land of the City of Everett to new pole 793I, to become established by and upon the final installation thereof by the grantees, also granting with the further perpetual right and easement from time to time without further payment, therefore to pass and repass over, across, and upon said land of the grantor, as is reasonable and necessary, in order to renew, replace, repair, remove, add to, maintain, operate, and patrol, and otherwise change said overhead system, and each and every part thereof, and to make such other excavation or excavations as may be reasonably necessary in the opinion and judgment of the grantees, their successors, and assigns, and to clear and keep cleared the portions and areas of the premises wherein the overhead system is specifically located, south of such trees, shrubs, bushes, above ground and below ground structures, objects, surfaces, as may be in the opinion and judgment of the grantees, interfere with the efficient and safe operation and maintenance of the overhead system.
Do we have a member of National Grid before us? Is there a member in the audience from National Grid? There's no representative from National Grid?
I think it's actually us requesting.
No, if there's not a representative, I think it gets pushed to our next meeting for a public hearing.
We can hold.
Council?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to.
It's been moved and second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have opened the public hearing. Quick question for our clerk. Under our rules, if we have a public hearing, if there's a petitioner, this petition came from National Grid?
Yes.
Okay, if we have a petitioner that's not present for the public hearing, I think it automatically goes to the next meeting, doesn't it?
I think once we publish a public hearing has to be, the public portion of it has to be held.
Okay. And maybe no action can be taken on it.
That would be up to the will of the council.
Oh, let's open up for public hearing. Yeah.
Open up for public hearing, we just have to,
Then we'll do that. All right, so it's been moved to open it to public hearing. It's been approved. I'm going to ask 3 times if anyone is in favor of this petition. And after we ask 3 times, we'll close that part. Then we'll ask 3 times if anyone's opposed to it. Then we'll close it completely, and the matter will come back before the council. So I'll ask 3 times. Is anyone in favor of this petition? Is anyone in favor of this petition? Is anyone in favor of this petition? Seeing none, that portion is closed. I'll now ask if anyone is opposed. Is there anyone opposed to the petition? Is there anyone opposed to the petition? Is there anyone opposed to the petition? Seeing none, the matter is closed. It's now before the council.
I make a
Councilor
motion
Hanlon.
to refer it to our next meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to ask if there is someone in the audience that is interested in this petition. They may not want to speak on it or off it, but they may want to hear it. I just want to know if there's anyone that was here from the city that might want it to be here, that's all. If you could just ask.
Any
Any
city
interested
employees?
citizen- Yeah, anybody that was
Could
here.
we, on the motion, could we invite the city solicitor up?
Yeah, okay.
No.
We've got Council Hanlon's motion on the floor right now is
We have a
to
couple.
see if there are any employees of the city that
No,
might
no,
have any.
any citizens.
Oh, any citizens?
Any citizens that would.
Well, we
Just-
did the public hearing portion of it, and there would be the chance to talk
Right.
about it. So, I gotta tell you, I vaguely remember a rule that I thought that if there's a petitioner who is, and I'll stand corrected, but I vaguely remember a rule that if there's a petitioner who is not present, I think it gets pushed to the next meeting.
Yeah, but you have
Mr.
to have
Chairman.
the public meeting.
Yeah, I
Councilor
believe-
Napolitano.
I believe the public, because the public participation portion was advertised, we've already done that.
Yeah.
We don't have any information from National Grid as to
Clearly
what the
we can't act
details
on it,
are.
sure.
So we really can't vote on this. I think the proper motion would be to refer to the next meeting, invite the petitioner to the next meeting to give us details on there. We've already completed the public participation portion. I think we're better suited to be able to vote on this at our next meeting.
And Councilor Fleury had that on the floor, so.
Yeah, I wanted to put that on the floor, but I wanted to make sure that was the right motion. That's why I had also requested that the city solicitor come up to make sure we were doing the right thing.
Okay, I think we are. We can,
It
we can-
is- it
we can
is.
have the city solicitor for us, but I think it's the right thing.
Yeah.
So the motion on the floor is to postpone this till our next meeting and request a representative from National Grid.
I believe the city solicitor has something. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have not acted on that motion. It looks like the chair will entertain a motion to have the city solicitor before us.
Yes.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Second.
Okay, so we got the motion
So
there, we
moved.
got the second there. All in favor of having the city solicitor before us, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You have so moved. Madam Solicitor, if you could please just identify yourself for the record
Thank you.
and shed some illumination.
Colleen Mejia, City Solicitor. I just want to let you know that the city actually communicated with National Grid and requested this. This is for power to Warner Park,
Okay,
so that's what this is.
okay, so it's the city's request through the
Yeah.
petitioner. Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions of the solicitor while she's before us? Councilor DeFlorio.
So is this something that we can legally vote on tonight, even though the petitioner's not here, because it's coming from the city? Because this doesn't say it's coming from the city, though.
We requested the easement from National Grid. They sent over the paperwork to get it before you, so you could approve it, so we could have power at Warner Park.
Okay, is this something that needs to be voted on today, or can it wait for another 2 weeks? Is it imperative that we vote on this tonight, or will they hold something up? What's the,
Well, I think if you ask the DPW, they would want it done.
okay. Okay, well, you asked, thank you.
Councilor Sachetta.
When you say for Winter Park, is this for the new gazebo and the fountain and all that sort of stuff?
I don't know exactly where the power source is going, but it is for that park. But I'm not exactly
The
sure.
only new features in that park
Yeah.
are the gazebo and the
Yeah,
and
I
the-
don't know
and the
what,
fountain.
I don't know what the power is for, but it is for that park.
Thank you.
Councilor Napolitano.
I have no questions for the city solicitor. I think that she's answered our questions as to the purpose of this, and given the information we have, I don't see any
If I
reason.
may, if I
I'd be
may.
willing to withdraw my motion.
Okay. Are there any other individuals who have a question for the solicitor? Seeing none, excuse customary thanks. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Councilor Napolitano.
That's all right.
Back to you.
Yeah, I believe we get the questions answered. We have enough information to vote on this. So I'm going to withdraw my motion to hold this over.
I second that.
Okay.
Let's withdraw the motion.
Okay, so the motion was withdrawn. Well, actually, we didn't vote on it, so.
Oh, that's fine.
Favorable action?
Councilor McKinnon.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice to know what we're doing down there? I mean, are we lighting up some, what are we doing? What are we lighting up? That's what I'd like to know, but, I mean, if we can't find that out, I'll go with the will of the body, so.
Well, we have the Director of
The
DPW
Director of
that's
City Services.
available. Chair will entertain a motion to have the Director before us.
to have the city director up before.
All in
I
favor?
second that.
All opposed? So moved. Jerry, if you please just introduce yourself for the record.
DPW, Jerry Navarro.
What are we doing down there?
Obviously, we have the new gazebo down there, the water fountain. We did all new landscaping. We have trees down there, some uplighting, so we need a power source for all that. We did the whole entire island over. I think it looks beautiful.
So what we're doing is we're going to be putting in something from National Grid to come in and just upsource the power?
Existing, right.
Okay, and basically, is it additional lighting that's been in that area?
There's additional lighting added.
Okay, and, all right, thank you. I just wanted to know what it
Sure.
was that we were doing.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the Director?
Excuse me.
Seeing none,
Thank
thank you very much.
I second that.
Moved and
Chairman,
second.
on the motion, Mr. Chairman,
Councilor Hanlon.
do we have a rule that says if the petitioner is not present, it shall go to the next meeting. Is there a rule on that?
I thought there was one. Yeah, I mean, we could take a quick minute and take a look at the rules, but vaguely I remember a rule that said if a petitioner was not present, that we couldn't, that
I do
it would
too.
just get pushed automatically to the next meeting.
I kind of
But-
recall that myself. But anyway, on the motion itself, you know, this is a petition for the National Grid, and, you know, they're saying they're coming from a pole, and they're going to put up another pole. Do we know what's gonna go on that pole? Do we know what's on the other pole? Is there cable on that other pole? There was electricity, I'm sure, but is cable, is there telephone? Is that stuff going to go to the new pole, which would probably be across from the elderly housing? I don't know if that's where it's gonna be or not, but I think we need those questions asked and answered before we can actually say to just pass this. I know what it's for, and it's for good reason and so on, and I'd love to see the place lit up too. But if they're gonna come back and say, what a mistake you guys made, I don't want that done. I want the electric company here to tell us what they're gonna do. 'Cause I don't know anyone know what an overhead system is? So I don't know what an overhead system is. Maybe it's just wires, but I don't know what an overhead system is. So
Yeah, I mean, there's questions, whatever the council like to do. Councilor Della Sola?
This is only, this is for us. This, it's just why, something that we want for the island. It's not National Grid. Whatever we tell the grid we need is what they're gonna give us. So, I guess we could hold it off for 2 weeks, but this is what we want. It's not what the grid wants to do for themselves to put something there. It's wires to make our power go on in the island.
Yeah.
So I don't-
Yeah, that's what makes it different, because I'll point out the rule now. It's Rule 77. It says public hearings. At all public hearings, if the petitioner or the representative fails to be present, that part of the hearing shall be immediately closed and postponed to the next regular meeting without further public notice. So that's what the rule says. I knew there was a rule. That said, it's the city that's requesting power.
Correct.
So it's up to the council. Because it's the city that's requesting the power, I think you could vote on
The
it.
city is
However,
not, Mr. Chairman, the city is not requesting the power.
well, we're requesting the connection. That's what we
Petitioner,
just
I
told.
know, but the National Grid is the petitioner.
Yeah, that's the way they did it on behalf of the city. So if you read this rule, technically, it's got to get postponed to the next meeting. If the council wishes to vote on it, because we've heard from the city solicitor and the director, and said that it was the city who was really requesting the power, we could suspend the rule and move forward.
That's what my motion was gonna be, Mr. President, to suspend that rule, and I don't know what the rule is.
Rule 77.
77, thank you.
We can move on that, see where the vote is, and let the will of the council decide what they want to do. So the motion before us is to suspend Rule 77. All in favor?
Second motion.
Aye.
All opposed? You suspended the rule. Okay, so now the
Favorable
council.
action on the order.
Favorable action.
It's been moved and second for favorable action on the order. Clerk will call the roll.
Counsel Della Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio.
Yes.
Counsel Hanlon.
No,
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Marquez.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sachetta.
No.
Counsel Sani.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
9 yeas, 2 nays, Mr. President.
9 yeas, 2 nays, you've passed the petition. The chair will entertain a motion to open public participation.
so moved.
Well, we have one and we have a second, so.
Oh, whatever.
It's
I'll
been
second it.
moved and second to open public participation. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've opened public participation. Do we have, how many individuals do we have, Council?
We have two, Mr.
We have two, okay. Just the ground rules for the folks that are coming up on the public participation. We have a cap of 2 minutes each, so please confine your comments to 2 minutes if possible. Please direct all of your commentary to the chair, and if possible, please keep personalities and names out of it and just speak to the piece itself. So who do we have as the first
The first
individual?
I have is Mr. Norman Solari.
Mr. Norman Solari. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the chamber. Welcome to the chamber. Good evening. If you could just speak in the microphone and state your name and address first, please.
Norman Solari, 23 Winthrop Road in Everett.
Thank you, sir.
I got a couple of things that are somewhat related. First, about 3 years ago, I think it is, they took a tree down in front of my house. When they got through, it was the City of Everett Park Department. When the fellow come down, I saw a piece up there, part of the branch. I asked him, what the heck was that? He said, one of the branches grew around the wire, and it was a Comcast wire. He said, I got a humongous chainsaw here. I can't attack it with that. He says, I'll go back and see my boss, and I'll get back to you. Never heard from him. I said, "Oh, well, I'll call Comcast." They sent the guy up. He climbed up, took a picture with his phone, called. He said, I'll be back. I got to talk to his boss. Well, a week later, come back, he said, it's not our job, it's the city's. So time went by, I said, God, didn't hear from anybody. I went down to City Yards. Now, I forget who the boss was down there then. I know it wasn't Peter. And I told him, he says, well, I'll send somebody up to look at it. Nada. So I just took the heck with it and forgot about it for a while. Then it started bothering me. So I went up to the mayor's office. So I talked to the fellow in there. He got on the phone. He got the head of whoever it was at that time, I can't remember. And I talked to him. And he says, oh, we can't touch it because we might cut the cable, we'll be sued. I went back, I said, oh, it's kind of crazy. Then I thought, he says, well, if that comes down and it hits somebody or some property or some person, the city's gonna get sued again, I think. I don't know who's gonna be responsible. So I just let it go, and that's where it stands right now. It's gonna come down. The laws of gravity haven't been repealed, as far as I know. So it's gonna come down. I don't know if I'll be around to see it come down. I'm pushing 90, so more than likely, it's gonna last longer than me, that's for sure. So that's that one. The second one is, Councilor Marquez reminded me when I saw it on his calendar today about Abbott Avenue, when they're gonna fix it. Last year, Winthrop Road, they did the sidewalks, we did the curbings and everything else, but they didn't do the street. It said they'd do it next year. So this year, about a month or so ago, they said they're gonna plane it. They're gonna plane Winthrop Road to Abbott Avenue. They did Abbott Avenue for some reason, I don't know, they run out of time, they didn't do it. A few weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago today, we got posted on the street, no parking, Thursday and Friday. Nobody showed up. No word, no nothing, nobody. That was the end of that. Then they finally come down and they scraped it up. So we haven't heard a word since. This morning, I wake up to a jackhammer. The streets are blocked at both ends, and they're adjusting the sewers and the catch basins. Not a word. At this modern age, with all the communications we got, it seems to me that somehow or other we could be notified. When they did notify us, they didn't show up. When they don't notify us, they show up. I got a suggestion. We have a what do you call it, a website here in Everett. Can't they post something on that? I know in Boston, you could call up, post potholes, any other kind of complaints you got. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, I read that they have they're gonna put a new system called 311. I don't know what it entails, so you can get them. I just a suggestion, but it seems in this modern age, we got all kinds of ways to talk to each other.
Thank you.
The some or other, we don't seem to be doing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming up. We don't respond, it's just public participation. Yeah. Oh, and we have one other individual? This is Joan Miser. If you please come forward, if you could just introduce yourself and your address before you speak.
Like I'm in court. My
We're
name
friendlier.
is Joan Meister, 45 Adams Ave, Everett, of course.
Welcome.
Okay, my problem is the way the city handles the city parking. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. No, I can hear, good, there you go, I'm sorry.
Okay. Those of us that have resident stickers are legal. The ones that have continuously get the visitors passes constantly, I feel, are not that legal. They keep giving them, people live there for 2-3 years, and they keep coming up every 6 weeks, getting their monthly pass and parking on the street, which is fine, except that that doesn't leave enough space for those of us that live on the street, pay excise tax, have legitimate stickers, and vote in the city. These people, which, like I say, if they're visitors, it's fine. If they have a rent-a-car and they have one of these temporary passes, that's fine also. But not 2-3 years going on constantly. They just keep giving them out like candy. I've been downstairs to the parking clerk, and they said, well, we make money on this, so it's fine. I went to the mayor's office, and the lady, everybody was very nice, don't get me wrong. And the lady in the mayor's office says, well, you know, maybe you should call your city councilors, this, that, the other thing. So she gave me a list. And I made a couple of calls, got a couple of answering machines, got a couple of no, and never bothered until I bumped into a couple of you guys recently. I've got, this is what they call a daily pass if you have a car on the street, which is good in 2014, but they would exchange it for 2015, but they don't do that anymore. Throw it away and pay another $5. I keep this in case I get a rent-a-car, like on a Friday, City Hall's not open, I can't get anything. Come Sunday night, they tag. This would be good for Monday as a one-time deal. Luckily, I never had to use it, but it's basically worthless piece of paper at this point in time. I definitely think that these people that get constant visitors passes, there needs to be a moratorium on them. Somewhere after a month, they are no longer a visitor. They live there. And also, our cars don't get ticketed anymore. They haven't been ticketed on our street for at least 2 weeks, and that's only because I called. And there are people with resident stickers that say Chelsea looks similar to ours. And if one of the parking personnel were passing by it, they would look at it and say, oh, yeah, that's okay. And if the thing is expired, they put it upside down, so they see a green, but they don't see anything else. So last winter, as you know, was the worst winter. I did nothing but shovel, but that space is not mine. Anybody can have it, and that's fine, but we've got so many cars on this street now. If we have anything like last winter, there is no place to put anything. So I really think the council should take a vote on either upping these things monetary-wise so they don't come for these temporaries, or have these people register their cars in the city of Everett and pay excise tax, not someplace where it's cheaper. And we have out-of-state cars on that street. Same thing. They've been visiting for 2 years. And that's what I have to say on this subject.
Thank you very much.
Okay, a small little minor detail on another subject is Uber. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I was at the State House yesterday because my husband is very much involved with Uber. We are residents of Everett. And they are voting on this thing, but the outcome is that the passengers in Uber cars, they're not insured. There was a big question on insurance. So you will have also Uber people driving in the city of Everett who, if God forbid they should have some sort of an accident, right now, insurance does not cover them.
I'm sorry, could you spell your last name for the clerk? please?
M-E-I-S-T-E-R.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wanted to speak during public participation? Seeing none? Is there a second? Moved and second to close public participation. All in favor? All opposed? You have closed public participation. Clerk will revert back
Could
to
we
the regular
please,
business. Counselor?
Suspend the rule and take items 5 and 32 collectively.
Is there a second? Second. Moved and second, suspend the rules, take items number 5 and 32 collectively. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk will read items number 5 and 32.
Item number 5 is an order sponsored by Fred Caponas, President, order relative to the City of Village Fest and the serving of beer and wine. And item number 32 is a resolution sponsored by Councilor John F. Hanley, respectfully requesting his honor the mayor and the city council begin planning for the proper commemoration of the 125th anniversary of Everett's designation as a city.
I have a sign-in sheet for Allison Della Sola.
Could we please have Allison Del Solar in a,
Because she signed in for those, Allison.
if we could please have you before us?
And also Dave Rodriguez.
And Dave Rodriguez? If you could please just identify yourselves for the record?
Allison Della Sola, Director of Communications.
And
Dave Rodriguez, Allison sidekick tonight.
thank you very much. Counselor? Did you have a question, Counselor?
Well, we can ask the question on item number 5 first, take that vote, and then item 32, because the
They're
two
both
parties
irrelevant.
are here for the same items, and that's the reason why I took them collectively. So, we can, if we have any questions on number 5, I actually do have a question, I'm sorry. Allison, could you explain what we're doing with this, why we need a license, and what we're doing?
Sure. So, and Dave can also speak to the legal side of this, but essentially, the event is a city festival, so it's a city-sponsored event. But it's anchored by 2 of our local businesses, Night Shift Brewing and Short Path Distillery. And we are having a food trucks as well as a music stage, and part of that was including beverages, alcoholic beverages. So in order to bring Night Shift Brewing out onto city property, which would be the public street, we would need an extension of the license for them to pour on the street. And if any of that was not correct legal jargon, Dave can help me with that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, certainly not gonna mince words with Allison, and the gist is 100% correct. We're authorized by ordinance to come before the city council for a special license to serve, consume, and pour beer and wine on city property. The city property in this regard is the street. It's gonna be a fenced-off area. We've worked on a pretty robust security plan with a private security firm, with the police, and with fire to ensure that this is going to be a secure and safe event for all who attend. They're gonna be pouring tents on city property as well as at Night Shift and at Short Path. Because the ordinance limits to beer and wine, unfortunately, the Short Path guys are gonna be limited to their own space. So they're the only place that they'll be serving and consuming spirits. The gin and the rum that they distill over there is on their premises. So that's not, you're not gonna see any spirits on the street. You only see beer. You essentially only see beer because there's no wine.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be a beer only on the streets every event.
And just to add, we also added an additional measure of what we consider security. We can talk in depth about security if you want, but there's designated cups that have the logo that are identifiable, that are the only cups that are allowed to be used for pouring, so that when people are within the festival area, the police will be able to proctor that whoever has, if they have a red Solo cup, then they can be asked to leave or whatever the police need to do. So we'll also have that additional measure of knowing. So Night Shift and Short Path will be stocked with these particular cups, so there's no other.
Just from a security control perspective, so the person who comes, the patron who comes to the gate, they'll be bag checked, they'll be ID'd by tip certified security personnel at the gate, it's a private firm, it's RSIG, it's a very reputable firm, it's the firm that does the on-site security for Harpoon Fest.
And Boston Calling.
Enormous event.
And Boston Calling.
Which is also a larger event, so this is a baby as far as they're concerned. They'll be ID'd, they'll have their bags checked, they'll be wristbanded, And
21 plus will be
21
wristband.
plus wristbanded. So if we see anybody with a drink in their hand in one of those marked cups, if that doesn't have a wristband, that's immediate ejection. You're out of here. There's a zero tolerance policy that we're gonna be enforcing. We're gonna have dozens of volunteers. They're gonna have very bright shirts on. There's gonna be dozens of police officers there, as well as RSIG enforcing this.
And the police and RSIG also asked that we post signage that states no outside containers, beverages, or any containers like that, that bags are subject to search, so that no one can bring in any outside cups or bottles or anything like that that could be used.
My question is, this is an order that's in front of us now. This activity is going to take place on Saturday, am I correct?
Correct.
Is this something that, according to our charter, can we vote on this tonight, or do we have to vote on it the next meeting? That's,
We certainly do apologize for
Yeah.
but by the time we worked out all the details about with the perimeter, exactly how the licensing was going to work, we didn't want to put a premature order in front of the council. And we certainly apologize for the day. The chairman could rule that this is a matter, this is an ordinary matter that can be ruled on.
so that can be done.
That's at the
Okay.
discretion of the chairman.
Yeah, and I would say that we treat it like any other type of, like, we do City Fest or anything of that nature. It's not something that is totally unusual, so I would see it as routine.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Council Sochetto.
Yes, where I represent this ward, I had a number of people call me from down there. They want to make sure I ask these questions. You've answered a lot of them, but I'm going to ask them again.
Sure.
First of all, the map shows that you're blocking off any entrance to the residents of the village area from this fest. Is that correct?
That's not correct.
No.
It isn't. So
we'll-
people could walk from this fest into the village at any time?
Anytime, yeah, there's no, we were very careful, and Jay Monty from the Department of Planning and Development worked very hard to develop a traffic flow plan that allowed for traffic as well as pedestrians to flow into and out of the village as well as Air Force Road.
I'm sorry. I also spoke personally with the few residents that live in the Norman Street and William Street area, and with all of the businesses that work off of Air Force Road or at 69 Norman, so off of that sort of access road, like Duncan Galvanizing is in the back there. They're all on board. They're all aware of the traffic patterns. The only traffic restriction will be on that bend behind Teddy Peanut Butter, sort of, if you will, the entire backside of Teddy Peanut Butter. So all of the businesses along Air Force Road know that people can still come from Santilli, down Tileston, Williams to Air Force Road, and we'll have digital signage to let people know that that's a traffic pattern for the day. The village neighborhood, are you referring to the opposite side village neighborhood, or just like the Tileston Street side?
If you travel from Tyler Street down May Street down.
Yeah, none of that will be restricted.
It's not-
Tileston will be open both ways.
It'll remain on the
Could they walk in the other, if I'm buying a drink at whatever place or something?
Oh, no. No, no,
can
no,
I walk
no.
into that area with a drink?
This is gonna be a contained area. So the Boston Police have allowed us, have loaned us those metal grade pedestrian barriers that you see.
They call it bike rack, they
The
call
bike-
them.
They're called bike racks, and everybody's familiar that has seen it, to contain the area. Every access point will be staffed by either security or volunteers coming in and out. To
And
make
police.
sure that nothing goes out and nothing comes in, because
There's only 2 access and exit points.
it's for 2 purposes. It's to stop people from coming in who aren't ID'd and back checked, but it's also to stop people from going out with alcoholic beverages.
If anyone overdrinks, how are they gonna be stopped? By the police and this security system you have?
Yeah.
Or the people that run these establishments?
Sure. The security at the gate are all gonna be tip certified, and that's to make sure that people aren't overserved. The people who are serving at night shift and at Shore Path, I believe they have all tip certifications.
Yes.
They'll know not to overserve. We'll be well-staffed by people from the Board of Health, from the Talbot Ambulance, from the Fire Department, to make sure that if anybody, in the event that anybody is overserved, inadvertently, to no fault of anybody there, they will be able to get immediate medical attention and get the help they need.
How about the parking? You show me a parking area. Where is that parking area? Is that the parking area where they had the festival for the I think a couple of years ago, they had a festival
Yeah,
there.
the carnival, I think you're referring to the carnival that was down in Sacramone Park. The parking's been,
It's
they've opened up
Mellon.
the Mellon Bank parking lot.
Okay.
Mellon's
Yeah,
given us their
graciously
entire
allowed us to
lot
use
for
their
the day.
parking lot, which
But
is
the Mellon
several
Bank
thousand.
operates up until
No.
4 or 5 o'clock.
They're closed on Saturdays.
Oh, okay.
So we spoke with
So
them.
they opened that
Yep.
parking area, and people will not be parking in the village area?
We
Very
wanted
good.
to, and Allison, and I really have to take the opportunity to thank Allison for the hard work that she's put in. This is an incredibly ambitious project, and Allison has done an extraordinary job in making sure and setting the city really up for success and really showing off the city in a great way, as well as holding everybody harmless. We didn't want to affect we wanted to give the residents the benefit of having the event with minimizing the impacts as much as possible. And she's really done an extraordinary job in doing it.
That takes care of the constituents down there. This is my own information. Who pays for this public security firm and the police detail? Does the city pay for that, or does the sponsor, the city is paying for it?
Yep, so because it's a city event, police, fire, things like that come out of their budgets. And then security details considered like a vendor for the event, so that comes out of the events budget.
But it should be
The
noted
celebrations
that,
budget.
This event is designed to take the place of City Fest, which
Right.
was a regular event, which.
So it was
kind of
already
struggled
budgeted
with
for.
attendance. Well, that's the best way to do it. Despite our best efforts, it's really struggled with attendance, but the price is the same.
Yeah.
So we're getting an enormous amount of extra value for the same price.
Talking about price, is there any profit from the liquor sales to the city to offset this cost?
No.
The city's
So
not
any
charging.
profit that's made by these firms is theirs, and the city has nothing to do with it?
Correct.
Because this is a first-year event, we're going to explore revenue options next year, either
Well,
food
that's
trucks
what I-
or sales.
We wanted to
but
see
because
how
it's
the
first year,
attendance would be
it's
for the first
I was
year.
gonna bring
If,
that
if
up,
you
but-
charge vendors to take part and then they don't do a great day, you run the risk of killing the event before you get into year two, so.
When you had the Summerfest at the city of Everett, people had to pay for the space that they took, the tents and all that. In this case, they don't have to.
Not this year.
Not currently.
Not this year.
One more question, I believe. The license that we might approve also has to be approved by the Liquor License Board, is that correct?
That's correct. They've posted a meeting to take place tomorrow night. That is, of course, conditional upon the city council's approval tonight. If you guys don't approve, there's nothing for them to meet on.
I'm all done, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Casey.
Dave, what kind of license does the Short Path Distillery need?
They don't need one. They already have one.
Oh, no, they have
They have a brewer distiller's license, so they can serve on premises.
They can serve and sell?
On premises.
On
Yeah. They have a
premise.
tasting room that's open.
Yeah.
You can go there, and I'm not gonna pitch for Short Path, even though they have a great product, and
Yep.
it's a great local business. You can go down there any night of the week and go down and enjoy a cocktail.
Really?
Yep.
Second question, access from 69 Norman Street, are they gonna shut all those businesses off that day?
So the majority of them don't, well, not the majority, some of them don't operate on Saturdays, and I spoke with them. Some of them stop deliveries in through that access road early in the morning, like Duncan, his last delivery is, his last truck is like 7. So when we talked about a soft close at 10 and a hard close at 2 for the access road, they were fine with that. The rest of the businesses, Boston Coach, everybody else, they're all accessible because they have regular sized vehicles going in and out, not big trailers and stuff, from Air Force Road, and they're aware of the traffic pattern and the timing and the nine. So yes, they're aware and
All right,
on
thank
board.
you.
Council Sani.
Thank you. The hours of operation, I believe it's 3 to 9?
Yep.
And it says here lawn games. Are lawn games for adults, or are you allowing children?
Well, because it's a city event, we can't put an age restriction on an event. That's why we have to make sure we're stringent with IDing for 21 plus. The lawn games are more, kids could play them. I mean, it's like giant Jenga, oversized chess. It's really of the spirit of like Lawn on D and those new kind of urban bars and clubs in Boston where there's outdoor space. So there'll be artificial turf put down, and there'll be club chairs, places for people to like sit and enjoy their food or their beverage and play chess and things, kind of like they have at Linfield Marketplace. They have like some of that, and also these new shopping centers and different places around the towns, and especially in Boston, are having them. So that's what Lawn Games is. It's not designed for children in mind. No,
This is not
no.
designed as a children's event.
Just so people understand.
We're gonna have a
People
separate
don't
children's
children
event.
And think that they're gonna be something, activities for them.
We didn't advertise the lawn games in the advertisements. We were very clear that it was live music, beer and spirits food truck, so people may bring their children because it's during the day, but it's never been promoted as a children's event in any way.
And rest assured, we do have, Allison has a lot of programming set up for children, so although this
Of
event
course.
might not be specifically targeted for children, we do have a lot of programming in the pipe that is slated for children.
There'll be a Halloween event for the
The
kids
other,
this month.
question is, did any of the Everett Square, restaurants get invited to this?
They did.
Are they participating in this at all?
They chose not to. The few that did participate in the last few years of City Fest, I went and spoke with them personally, my office, the people in my office, we all went, and they were okay with it shifting, and they chose not to participate because it's, kind of a haul out of their neighborhood, and they didn't feel the
And I
need
know
to.
we used to do it in the square to try to promote the square, and I know this is a new area that's trying to come in.
Well, I think we always try to promote the city and what the city is. And I think what the city is becoming is what this area kind of highlights, like a new commercial, these are new commercial businesses. It's a little niche environment. It's that urban progressive city that we're becoming with modern businesses. And so I think that's why we chose to highlight it this year. So it's about the city. It's not just about the square or one area of the city. It's about the city and where it's going. And so I think this year we thought that this was a good representation of where the city was going.
And I noticed we talk about the two brewery places, Teddy Peanut Butter, are they doing anything?
Yes, they're participating. They donated. I believe you accepted a donation from them at your last meeting or maybe tonight. Tonight. So they donated, and they're also having a tent. They're the little peanut butter tent on the thing, and they're giving away free samples of peanut butter and crackers at the event, actually. So.
All right, and Councilor Shashara mentioned about the cost and money-wise, so, I know you said that we're gonna be seeing down the road, if it is something that we wanna charge later for the food trucks and coming in and stuff like that, and maybe if they do well in their brewery, maybe they can give a donation back to the city too.
Absolutely. They did pay for some costs. They're paying for half the cost of the cups, the stock for the Village Fest cups. They're paying for like the ice, which they're giving us part of because we're giving away, we got Polar Beverage donated all the non-alcoholic beverages to give away for free. And so the distillery and the brewery were nice enough to get the ice for us to be able to keep them on ice all day and give them away. So they are giving back what they can. They are sort of startup businesses, so they're in their infancy in terms of their budgets. So, and the other thing that is invaluable that they gave us was their constituency, their social media marketing. They've been tweeting, this is the day and age of tweeting and Facebook, and that's how you really publicize these things. And both of these establishments have huge followings. So we really were able to get marketing for free out of them.
Yeah, Allison made a very important point about non-alcoholic beverages. The focus here tonight seems to be on beer and spirits. Every food truck has non-alcoholic options.
Yep.
We will have the two polar tents, which will be staffed by city volunteers, handing out non-alcoholic beverages. So I want to dispel the message that this is simply a booze fest. This
Right.
is not people just if you don't want to have a drink.
You don't have to.
This is the event for you as well. There's tons of stuff to do. There's tons of stuff to experience. But because of the licensing issues, that's why the focus tonight seems to be a little bit on beer and wine.
There are 10 food trucks that are the top 10 food trucks in Boston, so.
One other question, after this event closes at 9, are the brewery places closed that time too, after, are they still open at later?
No, their license goes to 11. So what will happen, and we're going to be very careful to explain this to them, is that, and I explained this during the planning meeting, at 9 o'clock, they turn back into a pumpkin. So the people that are in that, they're subject to their occupancy, they're subject to a lot of, and we're going to make sure that that's enforced, so that we want to avoid, if we have 1,000 people there, 1,000 people just running for night shift at 9 o'clock.
And the fire department's very on top of this. We've had lengthy conversations with the fire department and the police department about how to properly make sure that that's
The
patrolled.
night shift and short path are very aware of their occupancy. These are
Yes.
very responsible business owners and very responsible establishments that pay attention to the laws and pay attention, because it's their livelihood. They rely on this in order to survive.
Right.
So they're very cognizant of that, and they're very aware. They've been a great partner so far.
Thank you.
Council Della Sola.
Most of my questions were answered. One question was the gate going from Air Force Road to Tremont Street. The gate that's always open and closed, is that gonna be open or closed for Saturday to relieve pressure, or to keep it closed to make it safer?
It's going to be closed for a number of reasons that are not related to this. So it's an issue that if I'm not answering the question, that's very purposeful, and I'm punting to Melissa on this one. This is an item that's on the agenda for later on, and we can discuss the flow of traffic on Tremont Street to Air Force Road. I
Okay.
think that's a
It's
that's a
not,
greater
it's not in our
discussion
plan,
as
though.
it relates- As it relates to the festival, I'm sorry for being invasive, but that was kind of the point.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Council McKinnon.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to, let me see. So we're going to have police details, fire details, and are we having city yard workers as well?
Yep.
They're going to be working as well?
Yep.
Are they paid for?
Paid for by,
Us?
yeah,
City?
it's
The
all,
department,
it's all
yep.
part of the
Yep.
event.
How much would we be incurring for taxpayer dollars on that?
We probably won't know until all said and done.
There's no set price right now? I know there was an event before, and they would charge for police details, fire details, and city workers, so I
I
just wanted
think the
to...
staffing is at the discretion of the chief. We have an estimated, and I think it comes down to who's gonna work that day.
Mhm.
We have a window where we wanna hit, but when all said and done, we can get you an accounting of what it actually cost. At the end, I think I feel more comfortable doing that than making an estimate on what's gonna be for police and fire and for DPW.
Okay,
It'll be
so-
adequate to staff the event, is what I can say.
So if, well, let's just say that if there is 1,000 people, you're gonna need at least, what, 13 police?
Probably 12 to 14, yeah, so
Okay.
so around there.
And then probably fire, we're looking at what?
10 to 12, probably.
Okay. 13, 10, 12. And then city workers, what, is that trash removal, that's barrier
Trash
put
removal,
up?
the
that's-
whole whack.
Assisting with setup.
Yeah, I'm not
tents
sure
and everything.
how many.
Not,
we've
not,
scheduled.
I don't know, that's at the discretion of
Yeah.
DPW. I just deal with the department heads and we talk about our needs and then they provide me with the staff that they see fit for the jobs that we ask, so.
Generally, we feel that this will be in line with what City Fest has cost in the past.
Okay.
We feel we're shooting
Yeah.
we're shooting to keep that number. That was important for us. The reason that we were able to have a big band was due to donations.
Where's that band coming from?
The Whalers?
Yes.
They're an international touring band.
No, I mean,
Bob Marley
is that
and them.
being
That-
sponsored by?
Yeah,
By Wynn
the
Resorts,
Wynn
who
Resort.
is
By Wynn.
sponsoring the Whalers.
Okay.
Yep,
And the
I think they're
band.
coming from Michigan that night.
they are.
So there'll be good entertainment down there.
And of course, the headliner, but we're gonna have music throughout the day.
Yeah,
It's a
4
bunch
great
of-
opening bands.
Including a local band, and some other regional.
From the village.
regionally,
Yep.
Some other regional attractive bands
Mhm.
that I'm far too old to really pay attention to.
Okay, and then, now these businesses, will they be having police details within their businesses after the 9 o'clock hour? then?
That's not required as part of their license on the normal course.
But if
There will
they're,
be,
but if they're up to capacity, they should be, correct?
if they're at capacity, they're at capacity.
All right, so fire will be on detail to make sure they're at capacity, correct?
At 9 o'clock, Deputy Carly will be on scene
Okay.
with fire prevention folks, with other fire folks, to make sure that they're not over that occupancy. We're very we're very sensitive to that. And we
Now,
wanna make sure they don't go digs.
so, once they hit that capacity level, where are these other additional people, if in fact they were to, as you said, rush to these places?
You don't have
Where
to
are they
go home,
going?
but you can't stay here. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So basically, we'll have police that are on site. that
Yep,
will move
dispersing
them,
crowds. Yep.
disperse
This is
crowds
gonna be a
and-
very well-lit area.
We also have safety, I'm sorry, Dave, we also have, the chief of, the fire chief has retained additional, the safety tower lights.
Uh-huh.
So we have 1, I think, in the city, we have 4 for the night, so we've strategically placed them, so when 9 o'clock hits, boom, the lights come up, even though we're outside, to kind of let people know, show's over, time to go. We also have signs posted clearly at all pop-up bars that, like, last call, the last drink will be served at 8:45, so that we're ahead of the game at 9, so there's not like people trying to rush and get drinks like right up till 9 o'clock. And hopefully people will start to, the band ends at 9, so that's it. The stage shuts down at 9, so there's
So,
really nothing for people to
This
do.
event will shut down completely at 9.
9 o'clock.
Yep,
We'll
9
throw
o'clock.
We'll throw the gates open, the bars will be closed outside of Night Shop. Shore
Big
Back.
lights go
We'll
off.
have staff directing to the exits at all exits.
Historically, Dave, who has, a number of, how much this has historically cost in the past?
I'll defer to Allison on.
How much has City Fest cost in the past? Anywhere between $25,000 to $35,000. Our major events usually run us $25,000 to $35,000.
Okay. And usually we,
Major meaning like 4th of July, City
Sure.
Fest, Actually, those are the only two. Everything else is much smaller in level. No, Christmas does not cost that much.
And we typically, for this type of activity, we pick up the police details, fire details, and the city work.
Because it's a city-sponsored event, usually any departments working the event pick up the cost within their budget, yeah.
All right.
And then just the additional entertainment and stuff gets paid out of celebrations.
Okay, reason being why I ask is I don't want to, we'll do this here, and then all of a sudden we have to do it for another parade or another, whatever's coming through, so I don't want to set precedents, that's why I'm trying to.
Yeah, we're trying to find the good balance of having adequate staffing down there to make sure that it's safe and clean and well-run, with also being very sensitive to the budget issues. So
Sure.
Allison, like I said, I really can't say it enough, that she's done an extraordinary job on this.
Oh, no, I think it's going to be a great event. I just think that we need to, control it, and it seems like it's going to be controlled. For us to actually, hand over permission to say, yes, now go before the license board and then retain the license, that would be coming from them. We're just giving them permission to do that, correct?
It's 2 licenses.
Okay.
It's essentially 2 licenses.
And this is the first step of that?
This is the first of the 2.
Okay.
Sequentially, this one comes first, and then the local licensing authority, which is the licensing commission here in the city, would either grant or deny the special one-day permit.
I just want assurance from you guys that there'll be adequate staff of police, adequate staff of fire.
Absolutely.
911 personnel.
We've had several.
And, the city yard people to actually, do clean up, put up and all that stuff, so that there's no issues.
Yeah.
We're doing everything we can to make sure there are no issues, and we definitely want to, this is going to be a lot of people's first impression of our city. We're very aware of that, and we want to put the city's best foot forward through police and through fire, by hosting a great event. So we're very excited. We're nervous because this is very ambitious, but we're tackling it from all angles.
Okay. I mean, I hope that it's a great event. I hope there's no incidents there.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Council Hanlon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking at the traffic pattern map.
Sure.
And I have a few questions. I'm looking at, there's 2 yellow boxes surrounded in red. One says traffic to Air Force Road, and one
Sure.
says event traffic and through, event parking and through traffic. What are those indicating?
Those are the digital signs that the fire department has, that you can post on the
Okay.
road to warn people of things. So what we thought was a good idea was to put one across from the entrance to let people know parking this way, to stop them from going past. And the other one is what we are doing to try to assist with the businesses that are down Air Force Road and in 69 Norman, to let people know, okay, so you can't go around the back of Santilli, but you can go from Charleston to Williams to get to Air Force.
Very good idea. The next question I have is, I see the route, the traffic route for getting into the parking area.
Yes.
And I also see, maybe somewhat across from Towson Street, there's a red hatch mark area, crisscross area. And if you look at another map, it says that is an emergency access. If you look on the map that.
Yes. Yes, he's talking about, right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
I think he's on Norman Street. Is that what you're talking about, on Norman Street?
No. It's right across, diagonally across from Towson Street, coming out of the parking lot.
Oh, yes. So that's the second driveway that's accessible from Mellon. And the one that's closest to Teddy
I know
Peanut
what you
Butter.
mean, yeah.
And we don't want people, the public, to use that for in and out because it's too close to the gate. But what it will be is an emergency
Okay,
egress
that's okay.
point, yeah.
My question on that whole thing is that, how do the people that are parking in there walk to the event? How do they get through?
They can walk through that. They just can't drive.
That's going to be allowed?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. My other question is that regarding 69 Norman Street, and I'm looking at the map over here, the place where you have, I think it was games or something? Lawn
Yes,
games?
yes.
Okay, not that, but the area around it, I see a red line around it?
Yes.
Around that area?
Yes.
And if you're looking at the way I'm looking at, the map, the line on the right is like the driveway to get into 69 Norman.
Correct. That's the access road that we spoke with the property owners. Mr. Barbarian, I believe, owns the entire lot.
It's a lot, and Duncan Galvanizing uses it for access.
So I spoke with both of them, Mr. Brooks from Duncan Galvanizing, as well as Mr. Barbarian. Mr. Barbarian has allowed us use of that lot for the day.
Okay, no, I don't have.
And then the access road, they know that the access road will be closed as of 10.
Okay.
They know that.
What about other companies that are in there?
Yes, they do as well. And they're all accessible by Air Force Road. The other companies in the back, Boston Coach, Metro Rock, Sky Zone, all accessible because they're standard size vehicles by Air Force Road.
We've contacted, Allison's contacted.
They're not marked, I'm sorry, they're not marked streets, but there are ways to get through the parking lots in the back that they use anyway off of Air Force Road to get in and out. Actually, the way most people get into, I think, Metro Rock is through Boston Coach, through the Boston Coach entrance.
Okay, no, I know several trucking companies down there, and if that's their access road to get in and out, but if you're telling me they're gonna go around and through Boston Coach, to come out onto.
Yeah,
Airport
the only
Road?
trucking company really was Duncan Galvanizing that's open for operations that day.
They might not be
That's
open
a
on
Saturday.
Right.
Right. and
Yep.
Maybe they're closed, but there are other vehicles that I know of that are in there, and they may not be going out, but they're certainly gonna be coming home. You know, these trucking companies, there's construction companies down there. And it's not just those two companies. I mean, look at the area, there's tons of companies. There's a theater company down there, there's an automobile repair shop down there. I mean, do these people all know that they have to use this emergency road in and out?
Yeah, we roboed the area too as well, and all the companies, so. I mean, if I can get I'll look into an additional list. I was given a list of the companies back there and contacted all the ones I was given, but I can certainly contact additional companies if you, maybe know of some that you're concerned
We're happy
may
to
or may
reach
not.
out. We don't want to restrict access, and we want to make sure everybody can get to where they need to go.
Yeah.
We think that this plan will make that so.
Yeah.
So we're happy to reach out. We're happy to do as much. outreach as we
Absolutely,
can.
yeah.
I'll take a look at that list
Yep,
maybe
please do.
tomorrow or something.
Okay,
You'll
yep.
have it in your office?
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you.
Council Paul Thomas.
Thank you. Is there a competing event going on the same day?
There are lots of events going on in other towns the same day, yeah. I think there's something in Malden, Somerville. Where's
Riverfest
Riverfest?
was on the 12th. We thought the Riverfest got moved to the 19th, but Riverfest in Somerville, where Assembly Row is, that's on the 12th. I think the Phantom Gourmet event at Fenway and Lansdowne.
That's definitely on
That's
the
not
19th.
necessarily a competing event. I wish it was.
Yeah.
But we're kind of targeting.
Different crowd,
folks.
yeah.
But that's, I mean, they're charging $35 to get in, stuff like that. It's a different clientele.
Yeah, I was more concerned about close proximity.
I think so,
Now, is the state police going to be involved on regulating the traffic around the Rotary, R16?
We haven't reached out to the state. Well, we kind of deferred to the police department on their outreach, but we can have them circle back with the state police, just give them a heads up, see if they
It
can
probably
get
wouldn't be a
some
bad
folks.
idea.
Yeah, we're happy to.
More coverage versus less is always.
Absolutely.
Is always better. And last question I have is regarding the musical acts. First, how many acts are there?
5 in total, including the headliner.
Okay, and the concert partial will start at what time?
3 o'clock.
And in personal, what time will the Whalers go on Mum?
7.
7.
Although I
Well,
wasn't
we weren't
advertising that.
Because we don't want people, we don't want
We
to
don't want-
at 7.
yeah.
Folks to come through every
We'll
day.
we'll
And
blip
s-
that out of the.
Yeah. No, we're not allowed to edit these meetings, Counselor.
Really?
Great opening acts too. 3 o'clock is,
Big
George.
fan, have been for years. I'm really looking forward.
Oh,
We-
good.
we
Come
wanted
see
to
the
get-
opening acts, they're really good.
We wanted to get a really diverse headline, a really diverse lineup. We think we really did a good job with that.
Yeah, I don't think most people realize the caliber of this band. They're internationally well-known.
Yep.
When Bob Marley passed away, they maintained the same standard of performance to this day.
We worked with Live Nation, who contracts with bands all over the world. They do everything. They do everything from a Taylor Swift show to stuff like this. And they said that Whalers were available, and we jumped on it. We knew that this is exactly the type of band that we were looking for.
Inclusive band that everybody would like. It would, work across all age groups.
I've only had one person say they don't like reggae so far. And she was, yeah.
She was cranky and
She's
pregnant,
cranky,
so
I'm not taking this guy.
No, I think it's great. And this
It's not my
relationship
wife.
this is actually opening.
Or
a
me.
relationship with other Live Nation for future events.
Yeah,
possibly?
we've developed great contacts with an enormous amount of vendors.
Yeah.
This is an incredibly ambitious event. We've learned a lot on how to do it, and we're very excited about it.
I think you'll be surprised at how we're going to transform the area to look too. It's going to be really spectacular.
Now, the only thing we need now is we need an entering Everett side on the Medford side coming into Everett.
There's one on I think there's one on the wrong side of the
On
road.
wrong side,
Yeah.
you can tell when you're leaving Everett, but you have no idea when you're entering. All right, thank you. I think it's.
Fable action?
Council Simonelli.
Oh, you had it.
Thank you, President, through you, Melissa. This thing's been going on and on and on. There's one big question here, no one even asked, is the beer gonna be free?
No.
No.
That is the question.
No, God, no. Are you still gonna come? I'm sorry. I
And
can-
that's for a couple reasons, outside of the happy hour laws that exist. We couldn't do it licensing wise, but also that's an over-serving issue we didn't want to get into.
Could Mr. Nguyen donate a couple bucks for a couple beers?
Mr. Nguyen
He just
donated,
paid for the
he
whalers,
paid for
so
the bill. He paid for the band.
we're just saying thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll excuse customary thanks. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Oh, crap. That's right. I
We
can't
need to
do
vote on
this.
this first.
Thanks a lot.
Hold on, number 5 first.
Yeah.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Favorable actions.
Moved in second, favorable action. Clerk, call the roll.
Counsel De La Sola.
Yes.
Counsel DeFlorio. Yes. Counsel Hanlon.
Yes.
Counsel Mangan.
Yes.
Counsel Marquez.
Yes.
Counsel McKinnon.
Yes.
Counsel Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sechetta.
Yes.
Counsel Sani.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli.
Yes.
Counsel Capone.
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
11 yeas, 0 nays, you've passed the order. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 32.
Item number 32 is a resolution sponsored by Counsel John F. Hanlon, respectfully requesting His Honor the Mayor and the City Council begin planning for a proper commemoration of the 125th anniversary of Everett's designation as a city.
Counsel Hanlon.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. I was going to do this, but the 125th anniversary is in 2017. And, you know, we're talking about a big anniversary, you know, and it should be a citywide kind of anniversary. Well, I can see schools getting involved and us getting involved, but the whole purpose of this is just to put it out and let people understand that the 125th year, the quincentennial, how do you say that, Michael?
Quincentennial.
Yeah, the big Q.
The Q. Yeah, we're calling it the Q.
Right, it's coming. And I want to know, and I want people to know if they get excited about it and say, this is coming. We'll probably have all kinds of committees, and I want people to be looking to serve on them and everything. And I noticed, I don't know how you got up to be on this, but you want to say something on this?
Just because the city events, and I do the city events, I just wanted to say that I'm on board with this. I've spoken with the city clerk about it, that we definitely is going to need not only committees, but probably budget. So we should keep that in mind when we're budgeting in the next year.
I would like.
A lot of
like to see-
budget, a lot of budget.
I'd probably like to see I don't know if you call it an executive committee, but a committee over committees, you know, that would be maybe a couple of counselors,
Yep.
someone from the city.
The school departments, yep.
You know, that
Yep.
kind of thing.
I
school
agree.
department and so forth, you know, yeah, okay.
We should probably, if you'd like to meet on it at some point, I'd be happy to, we can start spearheading that. Me,
Okay.
you, and the city clerk.
I'm going to see you tomorrow anyway, so I'll talk to you tomorrow about it.
Okay, great.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion on the piece? Seeing none, any questions? No questions?
Mr.
Thank you very
Chairman,
much.
on this one here, this is a resolution, just to, I don't know what to do with it, just,
Refer to maybe the clerk's office?
I think
and-
I want to refer it to the city clerk, because he's the one that's really sort of on top of this, and I will be his conduit to get it back to here and everything, and we work quite good together, so that'll be good, and then we can work with Allison to get whatever we have fully. And believe it or not, 2017 for an event like this is right around the corner. And if we wait a month, it might be a month too late. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. So, thank you.
Okay. The motion has been made and seconded to refer item number 32 to the clerk's office. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've so referred.
Suspend the rules to take item number 18, please.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules and take item number 18. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? If I may, before the clerk reads the piece, I think this piece and number 11 are actually on the agenda in error, because they're currently in committee. I will defer to our clerk on that, though.
Yes, yeah, according to the, I mean, definitely item number 11, and, yeah, definitely this one, they're still in the possession of the committee. I mean, no, the committee has not reported it out, it's still in there.
Mr. Chairman, motion for item 18 to grant further time. Keep it in committee.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, hold on 1 second, folks. So, Mr. Clerk, it actually isn't in order to really...
Right, we passed a new rule not too long ago that if, well, in the case of one, it's really not, you know,
Right.
18's a different case, but, yeah, whenever a committee requests further time, unless it's gone beyond, I believe it's the 6 weeks, they don't have to come before us. The committee doesn't need the council's approval for further time until it gets to that 6-week period. And now they don't report it out, but they need further time. Now they need the council's, because that violates the rules. So the committee does not need the council's approval for further time. They just grant further time within their committee, and it'll come out. If it doesn't come out in 6 weeks, now they need the approval for further time. So those things, no action is necessary on anything that falls under those categories. And item number 18 is just simply still in committee. Greenie didn't meet, and therefore wasn't reported out.
Yeah.
So it's still in the possession of Ways and Means.
Mr. Chairman?
Council
Mr.
Handler?
Chairman, I'm not too sure on item number 18, how important this is to get this done. Is this something that I can ask, if this is a sort of something they're looking to be passed right away to our clerk? Do we know if this is?
I have no idea. All I know is that it's not in the possession of the city council as a whole right now.
Right.
It's in the, it was referred by the council to the Committee on Ways and Means, and therefore it's in their possession.
So is it even proper for us, is there anything we can even do with it?
I mean, there
could-
is a
could
way
you-
to,
Would that have to be
we
suspended?
really
under
tested my
suspension?
parliamentary knowledge here. There is.
That's why we have you sitting there.
There really is, yes, there is a way to take it back
Sure,
from the committee.
absolutely.
Off the top of my head, I think it requires, I want to say 4 members.
Requesting
And
that?
if- Yeah, and if former Councilor DeAngelis was here right now, he'd be challenging me, but there is a motion that can be made. Hopefully, Mr. Brilli in the back's looking it up right now, but there is such a motion.
Yeah, the motion is take from committee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to withdraw from committee.
Yeah.
I mean, is that,
But I
is
don't
that
know if
some-
it's
is it-
necessary, that's why I'm
Yeah.
trying to find out if it's necessary for us to make that kind of a motion.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Council McKinnon?
If we do this and we don't have a report from the committee, if they've done any type of investigation work on it at all, I mean, what are we trying to accomplish?
It doesn't matter, if we want it here, we can take it.
Okay.
That's what I'm just saying, you know.
Mr.
Councilor
Chairman,
Florio?
we do have the project manager here that's signed in, so maybe we can at least listen to what they have to say and then refer it back to committee if we're not comfortable,
Sure.
or vote on
It's
it.
already in
Yeah.
committee, right?
So,
Stayed in committee.
okay.
We can take it out of committee, that was the.
That's
that was-
correct, Counsel.
okay.
Counsel DeFlorio, you have the
We
floor.
can remove it, right now, we can make a motion to remove it from committee.
Right now,
We
it's
can
laid out.
discuss it with the project manager, if we don't feel comfortable, we can just send it back to committee, or we can just vote on it.
That's correct.
Am I correct?
That
Thank
is
you, Mr.
correct.
Chairman.
If I may.
So,
If I may, what I would suggest right now is to lay it on the table until
until we have the
until we
motion.
can find, it is money, and whenever it's a money order, you do want to do everything.
That's correct.
Right to the T.
So we'll make a motion to lay it on the table until
Mr.
our
Chairman,
clerk comes
no,
out to
no,
give us the
Mr.
correct
Chairman,
ruling.
Before we do that,
Council Hanlon?
we have to have it before us. So the proper
We
motion is.
would be to pull it
take
before us.
from committee,
Yes.
have it seconded and motion, and
Right.
move on
Yes,
it.
because there's nothing to lay on the
Right.
table until
Right.
you do that, so.
So the motion is
Motion
to,
made, to take from committee the item number 18 that's on our
18.
calendar.
Taking it properly from committee. Yeah, I would just, since we're not even sure if it should be before us, I would go on to the next item.
Yeah.
Get on the table now.
We don't even
Right.
have to, they don't have to do
We want to make
anything,
sure we're
just-
properly taking it
Yeah.
from committee.
okay, so make a motion to go to the next item.
Yeah,
And
and-
item
and
is
then
number
come
27
back.
and 39.
Let me read that.
We're kind of at a standstill if you're gone. Okay, so items, it was moved and second, suspend the rules and take, well, it was moved. Is there a second to take items 27 and 29?
Second.
It's been moved and second, suspend the rules, take item number 27, 29.
27 and 39, Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
I'm sorry, 27 and 39. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Clerk will read item number 27.
Item number 27 is a resolution sponsored by Council Richard Delasola Jr., the DPW Director Jerry Navarro appear, meeting of the City Council, speak about plans for new sidewalks upkeep.
Council Delasola.
I'd like to invite the DPW.
Did you want to amend this piece? Is this the piece you wanted to amend?
Yes, I want to amend and put P. Napolitano.
Okay.
On this
Is
with
there,
me?
is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Moved and second to amend the piece to add Council Napolitano's name to the piece. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? It's been moved to have Jerry Navarro in front of us, Director of DPW. Thank you, Jerry. Please, if you could just introduce yourself for the record.
DPW Director Jerry Navarro.
Councilor Delasola.
You know, Jerry, I know we talked earlier today about this situation. I noticed there's a lot of sidewalks that are only a year or two old that are crumbling, the slabs.
Right.
I have to apologize, I had pictures, I left them at work, of the locations I went to. I did talk to a few people, you may be able to correct me on this. Per slab is about $500 to remove and replace, give or
Approximately.
take.
Approximately.
Could you explain, I know it could be different contractors in the city doing this, different sidewalks. I was told it's a year warranty, which is kind of crazy, a year warranty, but these the bill lasting a year?
Correct. I actually went out to Prescott Street,
Yes.
and I took some pictures myself today, and spoke to a couple of residents out there. They said it was a watery mix.
Correct.
When they witnessed them pouring the cement.
Correct.
I will address that with the contractors, but in the meantime, if we need to fix them ourselves, I'll put my guys out there to fix those. I know there are other issues coming out of Evelyn, that the trash truck, sometimes the tires are going over the sidewalks, so over time, they're gonna crack. And I've talked to the project managers out on the sites, and they said they've poured 7 inches of concrete in specific locations just for those reasons, and they're still cracking. So this is an ongoing issue, these tight private ways, dead ends, where the garbage trucks are trying to maneuver in and out of them. They're gonna be going over the sidewalks, and eventually, those brand-new sidewalks are gonna crack.
Correct. I know there's some areas too that are pitting. I even walked through Glendale Park a lot, even, that's what, 2 years old, 3 years old?
Mhm.
The pitting, I really don't think it's salt, the rock salt, because even in front of my house, the sidewalks are all brand new. Only 2 slabs that were poured late
Right.
are pitted. The other ones are fine. I can never get rock salt in 2 slabs and never get them
Correct.
on the other ones.
Correct.
But I just asking if yourself and,
We still have a punch list for Glendale Park that we're holding the contractor accountable for, so we'll be addressing those over the fall and the early spring.
I know even the Webster School, brand new wheelchair ramps in the front, they're pitted also, which may be the school department's issue, but in the long run, it's everybody's issue.
It's a city's issue.
Correct.
Right. We'll be addressing those as well.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Napolitano.
Thank you. The reason why Councilman Del Sol had me on this is because I've been actually working on these type of problems for the last 5 years. It started right on the street, on Florence Street, when those were poured about 5 years ago. About 20% of the sidewalks had to be redone the following year because they were of a bluish tint, and that was the feedback was back, they were overwatered. You know, I'm mainly concerned with what's being addressed to the damaged sidewalks that have been recently done, that have been reported and still not repaired. My own sidewalk is one of those categories. We've been trying to get the sidewalk that was done 4 years ago repaired for 3 years now. I even went so far as the last April, and I've got pictures of it, of city signs going up. It's funny, we had so many public participation talking about this. We had signs up saying we're blocking the street off for the sidewalk repair. They were up for 3 days. No one showed up. No work was done. Sidewalks are just as damaged as they were. And we're not talking about 1 or 2 slabs. We're talking probably about 8 or 9 slabs at various points within a 50-yard stretch. You know, it's you wait forever to get new sidewalks, and then you end up with a product that's worse than the old sidewalk. What's the turnaround time?
Turnaround time, myself have been very frustrated with the contractors as well. We just hired a new professional engineer. Hopefully, he's going to be helping me along, dealing with the contractors and our consultants out on the street, and make sure we're getting the actual proper product, and try not to come up with these meetings anymore about sidewalks.
I mean, my thing is, I had a constituent 2 weeks ago give me an earful about a similar problem. And her comment to me was that, well, you people get your sidewalks taken care of. And then I showed her the pictures of my sidewalks, including the sign where no one showed. You know, there can't be a double standard. We've got to address these problems no matter who it is, no
Right.
matter why it is, no matter how long it's been. We need to get these fixed.
I agree.
Because we have another winter coming in that's going to be earmarked to be worse than it was last year. And when you get water in a crack
gonna
that's about
expand it.
an inch to an inch and a half wide today,
By the end of the winter.
that's running about 13, 14 feet, you're gonna have a serious problem.
Correct.
Okay. So, I just like to
I
get
feel your
some-
frustrations, and I agree with you.
You have no idea. This has been 3 years of trying to get the sidewalk repaired, including my son coming up during a public participation 3 years ago, who I was very proud to say, hey, I spoke before the Board of Aldermen about it. But nothing's been done. and we need this stuff done.
I'm here to work for all you guys.
Appreciate it.
And women, and women.
Council McKinnon.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Let me see here. The punch list you mentioned, do they expire at any point?
Well, we've been holding some money back, so until they fix it, they won't get their money.
Oh, okay, so basically, all right, so they're not getting paid for work already done, and are they coming back to do this, or?
Yes, it's in the process now.
Okay, how long should it be? I mean, we're gonna hit winter shortly here.
Well, there's gonna be things ongoing through the spring that we need to address the infield and the grass, along with the watery area in center field. We have to address that. Also, we're gonna be adding the new swings as well. So it's not gonna get fixed by the fall. It'll roll into springtime, and hopefully all the fields will be ready for the fall, spring sports.
And you feel confident that we'll end up actually having that all accomplished by spring?
My goal is to have it all done by April 1st.
By April 1st, okay. Now, on the sidewalks, do we have any type of, is it a punch list type thing, or is it just, you have a company come out, do it, if it fails, then what happens then?
Well, our consultant on the street will be reviewing the work after it's done. And then obviously we get calls from the counselors, residents complaining about cracked sidewalks or improper, setting of the curbs somewhat, and we'll come out and investigate, and if it's under warranty, we'll hold them to it.
How long is the warranty on it?
1 year.
It's 1 year warranty on it? Okay. And if you don't get to it within that certain period of time, what happens then? We have to pay for it as
Well,
taxpayer dollars? Or?
the DPW will
Come
take
out
care
and
of
they'll do
it,
it?
correct.
Okay.
Now, we would deem it by, obviously, most severe, hairline fractures. We're probably not gonna come out and address the hairline.
Just as a suggestion, can we have like maybe a list from you of where these areas are? And then we could actually have a whole list of, different itemized list of which one's worse, which one, we had that with the streets, I believe.
Well, a lot of them, usually a lot of them come in through ClickFix, which has been a great tool for the city. And as soon as we get them, we try to address them. If they're high on the list, we address them. If not, we address the more severe.
Okay. So can we get a list from you, like maybe at our next meeting, just so that we can have a list of
Sure.
any bad areas that there are out there that are cracking, and then we can go from there?
I can get that for you.
All right, thank you.
Council Sani.
Thank you. You mentioned that we go out and fix the sidewalks that the companies that did them and they cracked. Do we get reimbursed from those companies?
If they're past their warranty, no.
If it's before the warranty?
If before the warranty, usually they'll come back out and fix.
Okay. The other question, do we hold bonds on these contractors that come out doing jobs?
Under my leadership, it hasn't been done yet, so I can't answer for what's been done in the past.
Okay. I know some cities do bonds on companies that are doing sidewalks or streets that they hold
Correct.
so much money back and then they hold it for a year or 2 years. and
I've
some
heard
other
that.
thing. So that might be something we should look into down the road, that if we're gonna start having these problems, maybe
Right.
hold them liable for it. Then they'll
Something
come
we
back
can
when
look
they want.
into,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Council Simonelli.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to, Chairman.
Yes.
Sorry, Jerry.
That's all right.
You know something, this is going on long enough here. These contractors should come down here, they get wet cement, it's too bad, we're not gonna be able to go out there and do it. Get them down here and fix it. It's their problem.
I agree, Mr.
And I'm
Simonelli.
sick of it. I don't
I
wanna
agree.
have people going down there and fixing it for something we paid, our taxpayers pay this money for this, and they don't do nothing.
Absolutely
And you wanna
correct.
fix it for them. No way.
You're correct, sir.
Get them down here and fix those streets.
You
We
got
paid thousands of millions of dollars.
Nice
Any-
tie, by the way.
Any further questions?
Mr. Navarro.
Any further questions? Seeing none, excuse customary thanks. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Want to
What
sit here
is
for
the pleasure
39,
of the
or?
peace?
Oh, yeah, you got one more.
Okay.
Actually, I have
We'll
enough.
we'll have you sit tight if you don't mind. What's the pleasure of the peace, Council?
Take one, pass me.
I mean, the council want to hold this over for 2 months and revisit this. Also, we want a checklist of locations they located that are damaged and which ones are being repaired.
Okay. All right. So, I'm sorry, you can say it one more time, Council. You want to hold this over for several months, and did you want DPW to put a list together, or was the council?
Yeah, in 2 weeks, I'd like to get a list of the damaged areas,
Okay.
if we're repairing them, or is the contractor gonna repair them?
Okay. You said 2 weeks then, 2 months or 2 weeks? Were you-
2 weeks for the list and 2 months to revisit it.
Okay. All right. So is there a second on that? Okay, if I have it correctly, we've got a motion on the floor that we need a list, or we're requesting a list of damaged sidewalks and who's responsible for it within 2 weeks at our next meeting.
Yes.
And then we're looking to postpone, hold this item on the table for a couple of months. Where are we at now? September, October, you looking for a November meeting? Second meeting in November?
Yes.
That sound good? Okay. Second meeting in November, hold it over till then. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred on that item.
Thank you.
The other item, I believe, is it item 39, Mr. Clerk? Yes, it's item number 39. Clerk will please read the item.
Item 39, resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marchese, city explaining why Abbott Ave is not complete.
Council
If I
Marquez.
may, Mr. Navarro, I understand why the Abbott Ave thing isn't done, because I didn't, the work being down, the demolition of the house and everything.
That had nothing to do with the delay.
But with the sidewalks and stuff there,
The delay was clearly stated in the memo.
yeah. But also, they still have to uncover the manhole covers and raise them up on the street. Will that be done, will that be done this week?
It'll be done this week, and the paving will be done on Monday.
So what Mr. Solari stated, will Winthrop
Winthrop will be done in conjunction with Abbott.
in conduct, that's what I figured.
Correct.
Okay, 'cause I had called up, the company doing the work and asked them when it would be done.
I'm sure you have connections over there.
Yeah, it was a little. But, okay, so we can expect completed
Yes.
in the next September 21st. Thank you.
Put it to bed, finally.
Beautiful.
Any other questions? Seeing none, excuse Councilman, thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Jerry. Council, it's a pleasure with the piece. Council Marquez on this piece?
For back sponsor.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second? Moved and second, refer item number 39 back to sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have referred back to sponsor. There is our Human Resource Director sitting out there patiently on number 29, so the chair would accept the motion to suspend the rules and take item number 29. We moved and second, suspend the rules and take item number 29. All in favor? All opposed? Mr. Clerk, please read item number 29.
Item number 29, resolution sponsored by Council John F. Hanlon, that the police report on the status of the dog officer.
Please introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, Kevin O'Donnell, Director of Human Resources.
Thank you very much. And Council Hanlon.
I was gonna refer this to the police department. I'm glad that you're here. Do we have a dog officer?
Uh,
That's my question was gonna be.
We have final candidates that we were completing the background process now and checking references. The delay, or what appears to be the delay, Counselor, is we have to post it in-house as a union, because it's covered by collective bargaining agreement first, and when no one showed any interest or met the qualifications, we had to advertise and bring in candidates, and unfortunately, over the summer months, it proved challenging to have the panel and the candidates' schedule coincide for that, but we have completed the process now, and it's just a matter of a week, maybe two, before we check on the references to make sure that they meet our expectations.
I don't know the background of it, but, I have people call me that say, well, one person in particular that's looking for a dog officer, and they keep saying, we don't have a dog officer. And I say, of course we have a dog officer, but, so I don't know what's going on with it and everything.
I know we are in the process of hiring a new dog officer.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, how long?
I'd say 2 weeks at the maximum at this
Thank you.
point.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
Council Sani.
Thank you. We talk about dog officer, are they also like animal control, like if we have problems with cats? I know in the past we never did, and I'm just wondering if we can start going a little bit further.
Yes, I mean, dog officer is kind of an antiquated term. The true title, as it was advertised and interviewed for, was animal control officer, so they'll deal with anything of the animal species.
Okay, because I know in the past we had a lot of kittens and they get displaced or they left out in the streets, and
Yes.
we need to start getting them into shelters and,
Yes, the job will be all encompassing for matters like that, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Excuse the
Seeing
customary
none,
thanks,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, thank you, Kevin.
All right, thank you.
What's your pleasure on the piece, Counselor?
Well, that's it, just refer it back to me then.
Second.
Moved and second, refer back to sponsor. All in favor? All opposed? You have so moved. On a lighter note, I've been handed a note that we have happy birthday wishes going out to Councilor Mike Mangan. So that must be what, 1920?
What are you saying?
Happy birthday.
What are you saying, is he 19 or 20?
He'll turn 20, but that's it.
Thank you.
Oh, where are we? Item
Our-
number 2, 3?
Our very talented and skilled clerk has got an answer for us on number 18. Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, the proper motion is to discharge the committee. What you're doing is discharging the committee from further consideration of a question or subject. The Assembly can take the matter out of a committee's hands after referring it to the committee and before the committee has made a final report on it, which it has done, which it has not done. And the Assembly itself can consider it. So long as the hand is in the question of committee, the Assembly cannot consider another motion involving practically the same thing. That has nothing to do with it. The motion can be to discharge the committee from consideration of item number 18. That is if the body is ready to consider it.
Okay.
If you're ready to consider it, because if you just left it, if you're not ready to consider it, then you wait for the committee's report.
Correct.
You know, it kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
If you're ready to consider the question, if not, it would be no action necessary and just leave it in Ways and Means. So those are your two, but the motion is to discharge the committee, and since you're undoing a previous action of the city council, it requires a 2/3 vote.
It is 2/3, okay. Councilor Hanlon.
Mr. Chairman, we've been discussing this now. This is a $2,200,000 item that's in committee, and we've had it here for several minutes now and everything, and no one has come forward to say that it has to be done tonight, you know, and everything. So therefore, I don't know why it's on the calendar, but just refer it back to committee.
Yeah, there is, if I may from the chair, there are a number of items. I looked at the calendar while we were in the middle of everything else. I believe it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, and 18 could all be grant further time.
So, yeah, Mr. Chairman, make that motion, all right, for all of those items, and, second.
It's been moved and second to take items 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, and 18 collectively and grant further time. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have granted. We should probably read the items now, or?
I think we're all the way up to number 2.
Yeah.
It is Committee on Legislative Affairs report on ordinance regarding disturbing the peace. 9 is Legislative Affairs on the awning ordinance. 10 is Legislative Affairs on the creation of an election commission. 11 is Legislative Affairs regarding the appointment of an assistant city clerk. 15 is government operations, public safety, and service on the autism event. 18.
Yep, and 18.
And 18 is, of course, Committee on Ways and Means report on $2,200,000 for paying costs of park improvements.
Very good. So the motion on the floor has been moved and second to take the items collectively and grant further time. Oh, okay. So, do we have an amended motion to take 8, 9, 10, 11, and 18 collectively and grant further time? Is there a second on that? It's been moved and seconded to take items 8, 9, 10, 11, and 18 collectively, grant further time in the respective committees. All in favor? Opposed? And we had item 15 that's... Yep. Got a second on that? Move and second to refer item number 15 back to sponsor. Actually, that one is, that's actually coming from a committee with a recommendation to grant further time. So that is in front of us. Or no, do we have to discharge the committee on that one? Do we have to discharge the committee on that? It's a report that came out.
It's a report to
If the
grant
council
further.
would like to,
To
yes.
refer it back to sponsor?
Yes.
It's my piece,
Okay.
but I'm
Okay.
referring back to sponsor.
Well, we need to get it in front of us.
Okay,
That's the
that's fine.
problem. So the chair would entertain a motion to discharge the committee from further consideration of item number 15.
So moved and second.
We have moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The chair is convinced that that was more than two-thirds, so we can dispense with that. Now the motion before us, moving second to refer item 15 back to sponsor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have referred item 15 back to
Mr.
sponsor.
President, if we could, council, is there any
Counsel.
other sign-in sheet?
There is, I think it's number 6 is the only other person that signed in.
Off the agenda?
Is there a second? It's been moved and second, suspend the rules, take item number 6. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read item number 6.
Item number 6, petition to erect a permanent store or front awning for United Dental at 285 Main Street.
We do have
Counselor?
the petitioner here, if we'd like to invite her up for questioning. I believe her name is Alicia.
If the council would like to have it forward?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please come forward. The microphone is green, so that means it's lit. If you could please just identify yourself for the record.
Sure. My name is Alicia Lafuente, and I'm the contractor, and I work for the sign company that's doing the awnings.
Thank you very much. Counselor?
The question I have is, what color is the awning?
The awning is a Pacific blue, so it's kind of like a royal blue color.
And this is going, I'm sorry, 285 Main Street.
Mhm.
What is this, no, I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking at 285 Main Street, approximately where is that?
Honestly, I'm not too familiar with the city, so I don't know what the cross street would be.
Okay, and what are the?
I have a photo of the building if you.
Okay, what are the colors in that area? Could I please see that photo?
Sure.
I hate to see different
Yeah.
colors, you know, blue, orange, red. If the surrounding area is all blue, then I don't have a problem with it. But if we're gonna start going, so there's nothing in the surrounding that has
Oh, my God, okay.
anything.
Oh, I know what it
So
is.
it's
That's
separate.
too bad.
Oh, yeah.
Is the color a oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the floor.
There's a black one next to it. Yeah. The ordinance on the book is, Crimson Tide, Crimson Red.
Yeah, it's actually not an ordinance.
It's not.
It's not an ordinance.
No, it's a rule of the city council, it's not an ordinance. I know that keeps being
Yeah.
repeated, but it's not.
So we have discretion to, deviate from whatever's down there. Did you have any further questions?
Well, yeah, we'd just like to try to keep it consistency, but yeah, we saw it, yes. Is city funds being used for this? Are we
No.
going for a loan, or this is just strictly being paid by the?
Yeah, it's being paid by the business owner.
Existing
Mhm.
owner? Okay, I don't have any further questions, thank you.
Counsel Hanlon?
In looking at the photos, I'm realizing that the awning does not look like the typical awning that we give a license for. This is only looking like it's hanging off the building. Is it going to actually go over the sidewalk?
It is going to go over the sidewalk, yes.
Like, how much over the sidewalk?
It's 30 inches projection.
Like that much?
Yeah,
That's
roughly.
That's about 30 inches. No, that's not that much. So that's like an awning we have that comes to the middle of the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's not too far out, and I do have stamped engineer drawings showing that that's structurally sound for that building.
How far from the sidewalk to the edge, to the top? Edge of
I
the-
believe it's 8 feet, whatever the city
Okay.
requires.
And did we decide on the color? Did we say color was a problem? Yeah.
Pacific blue.
Is the color a problem?
I mean, as long as it's not with you guys. We can go darker blue if that's an issue, because there's black next door. We can go more of a navy
Well, we're
if
talking
that.
about going to red,
Red, I mean, I can bring it back to the customer, of course,
you know?
but,
Is it already up?
no.
Oh, okay, councilors. We've got 43
Oh, yeah,
meetings
I'm
going on
sorry.
at the same time. So let's stay on the same page. Counsel Hanlon has the floor.
Okay, no, I guess I'm all set. I was just wondering if
Okay.
the color could be changed to red, and if we're having a problem with it, that's all. There was no problem. I guess.
And before I give the floor to Counsel Sani, the reason for the confusion is that we kind of have unwritten rule that, or the rule is to go with crimson red, the city's color.
Oh, okay.
Petitioners can request to deviate from that. We have granted permission to do that in the past,
Mhm.
and I think that's what everyone was collectively trying to get across.
Okay.
Counsel Sani.
Thank you. They mentioned the rule, and on that wall, they also mentioned, we used to say that if someone else has a different color on there, we try to keep it the same color
Mhm.
also, if they don't have crimson red. I know there's black up on one of the corners there. Would there be a problem if they went with black?
Yeah, again, I'd have to go back to the client, but I don't see, I mean, I see red being a little bit of an issue, but black is close enough to the navy that it might not be a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Counselor Del Solo.
I was just gonna repeat what we're all talking about here, my colleagues. We're just
Mhm.
trying to make it uniform. If
Sure.
that was red next door, crimson red,
Mhm.
then we would prefer having that one the same.
Okay.
But since it's black, I understand there's a little conflict here. If you could go back and, if it was black like the other one next door, then it's a little more uniformed.
Okay.
We're just trying to
Yeah, I understand.
get this. Thank you.
Are there any, Counselor Simonelli?
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to the petitioner. Seems like a variation here. Do we have one time we were trying to make everything crimson, red? Now we're getting into black. I mean, what's going on there? Is it gonna next time you
Well,
guys?
is it a question for the petitioner?
No, I'm sorry, no
Okay,
question.
oh,
It was
okay,
question
I'll
to
get
the
back
chair.
to you, though. I will let you have the floor. I think Counsel Marquez, you have a
Yeah, this
question?
will be very quick. Council Napolitano and I know we had a piece coming up, and we're probably going to look for 3 colors, and, we're gonna keep our crimson, probably with black and blue. I think that may be something that we're gonna think about at the time, so, I mean, if everybody's happy with it, with not having crimson, then I don't have a problem with it either.
Okay. Any other questions for the petitioner? Counsel, is it a question for the petitioner?
I mean, I just. black
Counsel
is one
Napolitano.
of-
I'll
Thank
give
you.
it to the floor, okay.
Yeah, that's why I took your hand gesture as acknowledgement of my, yeah, black is one thing, dark blue, I'm sensitive to the business side as far as that people are trying to set up a business image.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think as long as it's not a distinct variation from the surrounding awnings is what we're ultimately looking
Okay.
for. And that, I believe, is what the chairman was referring to as, and we've granted variance in the past.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I personally don't want you to think that you have to go to black. You mentioned navy blue. I know navy blue is a darker form of blue that may still be, and be consistent with the flow
Mhm.
of the look there, and that's something we'd have to take a look at.
Okay.
But, this is the reasoning behind that, so, I mean, I would look at other options. If blue is the company's colors, then just explore a darker shade of blue
Sure.
if possible.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for the petitioner? Counsel DeFlorio.
I want to pick up on, as Councilor Napolitano said, if blue is the company, we certainly don't want to hurt the company.
Mhm.
So the point we're trying to say is, because next door it's black and we're trying to keep more consistent, if we granted this petition tonight to say, you can either go with black, navy blue, black on navy blue, would that be an issue or a problem?
No, that wouldn't be a problem.
What's wrong with Pacific blue? I like that color.
Wow. Because we don't want to hold up the petition. We don't want you to come back again in 4 weeks just because so if we can put colors in there to say to you, in other words, we don't want a bright red right now.
Right.
Because there's a black next door, so we're trying to keep it consistent.
Mhm.
So,
That, no, that wouldn't be a problem. And I can definitely submit a sample of the color if you guys would like me to. Okay. Not a
thank you.
problem. Yep.
Any other questions for the petitioner? Counsel Sani.
She mentioned about certain colors for your business. Is this a franchise, United Dental?
No, it's not.
Because I know sometimes there's franchises that have to use certain designs.
Yeah, I know that their business cards and stuff are all consistent with the blue and white, but it's not a franchise now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Counsel Simonelli.
Thank you again.
You're all set. Thank you.
Chairman, this is more or less you. Again, I don't know why we're getting out of crimson red. Now crimson red, is that black? So we're going crimson red and black now. So we're letting the black go with the red. So it seems to me, might as well let another color go when a guy comes a pretty blue. I mean, what's going on? Either dump the crimson red or stick to it. I mean, simple as that. I mean, I'm not voting for this. Thank you.
What's the pleasure on the piece? What do we have in front of us?
Favorable action.
Okay.
On the royal blue or black? Yeah.
Do we need a specific, Mr. Clerk? Or give them the
I
option?
mean, if that's the amendment they wish to make on it, I would remind the council that really difficult to enforce the rules of the city council on an individual, which is why Councilor Marchese has been working on an ordinance as opposed to a rule. That's the rules of the city council. The only person it really applies to is the city council. And to apply a rule to an individual or company is very difficult. I think the best the council could do is to respectfully request of the petitioner that they stick to, you know, in order to help the city maintain a certain, or create a certain ambiance. Ooh, ambiance.
You're using all big words tonight, you know that?
That's 3 big words I've used this
You
evening.
must be playing like Scrabble or
That
something.
they try to go navy blue or black, and, but those are the rules of the city council, to govern us, not the public.
Okay.
All right, what's the pleasure of the council?
It seems like that she was very reasonable, and I think they're gonna do the right thing, so I withdraw my motion and make a favorable action on the order.
Okay. The motion, I believe that was before us, and correct me if I'm wrong, was moved in second for either navy blue or black. Is that correct?
I'll withdraw that motion.
I think that was your motion. Was that your
That was
motion?
mine.
That was Council Marchese's motion?
No.
Okay. Are there any other motions on the floor? Okay, that being the case, the clerk will call a roll on this. It has been moved in second that the petitioner be granted the authority to put an awning up that would either be navy blue or black in color. Clerk will call a roll.
Councilor Della Sola.
Yes.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Yes.
Councilor Hanlon. Yes. Councilor Mangan. Councilor Marchese.
Yes.
Councilor McKinney.
Yes.
Councilor Napolitano.
Yes.
Councilor Sucheta.
Yes.
Councilor Sani.
Respectfully black.
Councilor Sani. Councilor Simonelli.
No.
Councilor Capone.
Yes.
10 yeas, 1 nay, Mr. President.
10 yeas, 1 nay, you have granted the petition. Clerk will, well, I think we have some folks in the audience. We can kind of take a look and see if we've got anything. We get some of our employees out. Are there any city employees that have business on any pieces that we'd like to take? I believe item number 24. Chair will accept the motion to suspend the rules, take item number 24.
So moved.
Move and second, suspend the rules, take item number 24. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk will read item number 24.
Item number 24, resolution sponsored by Councilor Salvatore Sucheta to have the gate leading to Air Force Road open so that citizens can drive their car to the parking lot and then enter a 7-acre park. Any person who wants to go to the park has to enter Madeline Aegis English School parking lot, and that is a small pathway going down an incline which is somewhat dangerous. Also would allow Everett residents to get to Revere Beach Parkway when the Sweetser Circle is at a traffic jam, which also creates a traffic jam on Main Street.
If we could please have you gentlemen identify yourselves for the record.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. President and members of the council. Tony Sousa, Director of Planning and Development.
Jay Monty, Transportation Planner.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Councilor Sucheta, this is your piece. You have the floor.
I've been on this for a number of years. This park was put there because of the fact that we took land from Glendale Park and we put a 7-acre park down there by law. The park has not been used because we can't get to the park. And it's been about 7 or 8 years that there's no entrance to the park. And I've been asking for an entrance to be put at the park. There is an entrance, but they close it. Then they open it, then they close it. Now, I understand that Air Force Road has been given to this new development on Waters Avenue to use to get out to Santilli Circle. Why can't our citizens use that same road to get into the park?
So let me speak to that. So as you know, the bike path sits on MBTA property. It's an old rail corridor. At both those locations, historically, it was never a road crossing there. So the two, both the Air Force Road and the Waters Ave apartments are granted access through a special agreement with the MBTA that they've granted for the apartments resident access, and for Air Force Road, they've granted pedestrian-only access. It's worth noting, too, that the Air Force Road agreement says that if the T were ever to reactivate that corridor for any kind of transit or rail purposes, that crossing has to be removed. That said, I've reached out to the T, and I've asked them if, with your concern that we would like to open that crossing up, and would they entertain changing that agreement to allow vehicle access over that crossing. We haven't heard back from them at this point in time. We spoke with them about 2 weeks ago. We should hear back in the next week or so.
Yes, we're going to follow up with them and have an update for you on that. So
Yeah,
we'll reach
I'd
out to
like to see it being used for anything but a dog park. I know it's being used as a dog park, but that isn't what we did. We put it there as a memorial. There are flags there, people paid for stones, but nobody's using the park because we can't get down to it.
Unfortunately, we're at the whim of the MBTA to be able to legally open that gate to vehicles. So, like Tony said, we will follow up with them and request that we change that agreement, but ultimately it's their decision.
When could I hear from you back? When could I people get back to me with an answer on this?
Yeah, I expect we'll hear from them in the next week or two.
Next week or two, okay, then I'll lay this on the table for the week, 2 weeks from now, next meeting.
Okay. We do have some questions, but we will take that motion after Counselor. Counselor Delasola?
In the past, I thought there was an issue of us driving over, is it a Algonquin line running down the path, which is a gas line?
Yep.
And I know it's patrolled every day, 24 hours by helicopter and all that. I thought that was an issue of us driving over it, especially with heavy vehicles.
That would, our city engineer has reached out to Algonquin Gas. They are willing to work with us if we do go ahead and put in a formal crossing. But you're correct, that is also an issue that needs to be resolved. The first step really is to change the access agreement before we go down that road.
And they would have to reconstruct that, not just pave it and walk away. Would they
Right, there'd have to be a whole full ADA compliant
Correct.
crossing there.
And everybody come in and out as we go.
Right.
Would there be signs, well, you wouldn't know anyways about what trucks and what cannot go through there until you talk to the
That's
gas
something to
company?
consider too, is that once you open it for public crossing, it's not going to be just the neighbors going through. It will be folks who maybe want to avoid Main Street, maybe want to avoid other routes in the city, and it could very well become a cut-through route. So
Which would be fine. I mean, I grew up right around the corner, but I'm talking about the trucks, the signs that have to be put up of over so much
Yeah,
tonnage.
if there's a
Can't
weight
go
limit
over.
on that pipe, there would have to be
Correct.
signage for that, correct?
All right, thank you.
Counselor Sani?
Thank you. I put this on a few months ago regarding going over that, and you mentioned that Councilor Delasola mentioned about the pipelines and everything, and
Yes.
we weren't allowed to use it. I also asked about why couldn't we use the Waters Ave project opening gates?
Sure. With respect to the Waters Ave project, there's an access agreement there, and the actual site plan and the way it's been set up, the access there, they did get the permission from the DOT and appropriate authorities to have access for that for their residents. It's even though today you drive by, it looks like a clear cut through, and it's true, it is. But only in accordance to the site plan, that access is, or that cut through, where it goes on to the other side of Air Force Road, that's going to be landscaped, and a type of retaining wall will be installed there and so on. So you won't have direct access, and that was done by design in the site plan. It is not a public way, it's a private way, again, for access for the residents there at that complex.
Now also, to get into the park, you should be able to go on the other side of Air Force Road and come in the back. Is there a gate open over there?
For,
To get into the 7-acre park?
sure, so
Wasn't there supposed to be like 12 parking spaces or something that they gave us?
the times that I've been over to 7 Acre, going there, traveling on Air Force Road, at the end, there's parking spaces there, and then one would have to walk, I don't know if it is 15 feet or so, to actually get to 7 Acre Park. There's also some pedestrian points also further down, closer to the school, that one could also have access to. There's not signage there, though,
Well, the one
directing
to the school
people.
is a steep.
Correct.
And people can get
Correct.
hurt and fall. That's what Councilor
Absolutely.
Shetta was saying.
Absolutely.
There's not an access that way, but I know there was another way you can get in from the other side, but,
Yes.
I know
So-
we talked about this before, that
Yes.
we couldn't go in.
Yes. So both, of course, both points are, we understand, and we'll follow up with respect to the folks we've reached out to, hopefully in the next week or two, and come back with an update for you. I know it's been a while, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll excuse customary thanks, but sit tight, because I think there's one more piece that's
Absolutely.
Councilor will
Absolutely.
jump on. So the motion I believe you made, Council, was to lay this item on the table for 2 weeks with the requested information to be provided?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You so moved. Chair would entertain a motion, I think it's similarly related, that we suspend the rules and take item number 26.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, suspend the rules, take item number 26. All in favor? All opposed? You so moved. Clerk will read item number 26.
Item number 26, resolution sponsored by Council Salvatore Sacchetta to hear from persons or persons responsible for the closure of gate on Tremont Street entrance to 7 Acre Park. It was open for a short period of time, then it was closed. For what reason?
Council Sacchetta.
Well, that was answered
Okay.
right
Well,
now,
yeah.
so refer that back to sponsor.
Okay. No questions for the individuals. Thank you very much. Customary thanks. It's been moved. Is there a second to refer this item back to sponsor? It's been moved and second to refer item number 26 back to sponsor. All in favor? All opposed? You refer it back to sponsor. I think the only other item that there may be representatives for is item number 25.
Correct.
So the chair would request a motion that we suspend the rules, take item number 25. It's been moved and second, suspend the rules, take item number 25. All in favor? All opposed? Clerk will read item number 25. Councilor Sacchetta, could you please take the chair?
Sure.
Item number 25, resolution sponsored by Council Frank Capone, Pena Napolitano, Richard Del Sol, the representative from the mayor's office, and a representative from any other applicable department appear at our next meeting to discuss the progress and time frame for renovations at Florence Street Park.
Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tony, good to see you. Thank
Yes.
you very much. As you know, the park has been, Florence Street Park has been in deplorable condition
Yes.
for a long time. I know we started the project early, and it's just almost it's been stagnant since.
Sure.
There's a huge pile of dirt. There is concrete, metal poles, chain link. Until recently, there were huge holes in the ground where the tree roots pulled up. Tree roots were laying around. We did not secure the gates. They are secured today, but they were not secured for an extensive period of time. We had private individuals fighting over the tree roots, the tree stumps. We've had children riding BMXs over the hills. A woman actually tripped over a tree stump and injured herself. She has not filed a claim against the city, fortunately, but she did get injured. And among the situation, you've got the park was unusable for the summer. When this was presented, there was phase 1 and phase 2.
Yes.
Phase 1 was going to be the tot lot area, the splash zone, all of that, and then phase 2 was going to be the ball field and the side terraces, I believe.
Correct.
If you could,
Yes.
just give me an update on what's happening, what the time frame is, what are we looking at? Because the neighbors, the neighborhood,
Sure.
all of us are just, we want to have something better there. So you
Likewise.
just give us an update, we'd greatly appreciate
Sure,
it.
no, and again, appreciate the opportunity for being here to talk about Florence Street Park. I also brought with me, should the board wish, I do have some renderings of the Phase 1, be happy to distribute, but, and also a construction schedule that I've received from the contractor as well. But with respect to, with respect to the timeline, and I'm happy to give you sort of a run-through as to where we've been, where we are, and where we're going on this project. Project itself, I think the contract dates back to December of 2014, and several months went by when I came on board as the director, if you will. Review of the project, review of the plans. One of the things that was that came up in the plans was with respect to the utility work. At that time, back in December, former DPW director committed to that his staff would perform some utility work, water sewer connection for the splash pad area, and with review of the with the water department and other folks, in review of reviewing the plans in closer detail, that work could not be accomplished by the city, and so and with site visits with the contractor as well, it was agreed that work would have to be done by another party. So there was some setback in that and some time of review. To my end, when jumping on this project and knowing that there's been some, several months went by, and clearly now is not the time to shut down a park for renovation. It's not when you want to do that. the ideal situation is, questions of specs, questions of design, or any uncertainties is to handle that during the winter months. And, and for whatever reason, situation presented itself in April, I was going through it, that there was some work that had to be fine-tuned in those specs. In May, month of May, you saw a series of tree removals. As a matter of fact, all the trees were removed from the park. Originally, we were supposed to retain about approximately 12 of the trees in the park. The contractor expressed concern and I'm not an expert, right? So I'm relaying this information that gets conveyed to me, and so we make decisions as we go along. But with respect to the trees in the park, it was conveyed to me that the root base itself, you had large root bases around the numerous trees there, and we had the tree warden go out to check the trees because there was concern with the earthwork that would have been taking place for the walkways and for the utilities as well that would compromise the trees. So I had the tree warden, I said, before we cut any more trees, had the tree warden go out to verify the condition of the trees and also to get his judgment as to whether or not removal of those trees would be necessary. I do have his review, and long story short, he concurred with the contractor that it would be best practice to remove all the trees because essentially you'd be in a situation where you'd be compromising the root base of the trees. And a while back, I think it was in the city of Chelsea, where they had a situation unfortunately where park renovation, tree fell, and so on. So as a public safety concern, I get it. In that situation, certainly on the positive note, with the designs and the contractor is responsible, the contractor is to install, I have the exact number of, to plant, I should say, 56 new trees, which prior to the park work, in total are about approximately 34 or so trees. So indeed, this actually be a much better, much beautiful park. With respect to the utility work, and unfortunately this should have been caught earlier, but with the utility work, important to note that the contractor needs to have the utility work in place before he could do his installation of the splash pad and the play equipment as well. And through the process, as I've sort of set the standard, when a request for a change order comes in, certainly none of the work is to be done until it's reviewed by my office, and now we have the benefit of a PE, of a professional engineer on board as well. And I had him review the specs to make sure everything's in good order, and that the dollar amount, the change order was the amount of $75,000, that was appropriate, and it is appropriate. With respect to which has been something we've been dealing with, the perimeter and access to the perimeter is of grave concern. The perimeter is to be secured, period, and that is something that I'm pleased that the fencing has now been secured. But I do know that there was, for an extended time, on and off, that the fencing was not properly secured. And moving forward, my folks and the contractor, everyone is on notice that there's no ifs, ands, or buts. The perimeter must be secured because it's a public safety issue. And with respect to the earthwork that did exist, or what you saw there was some dumping, some tree stumps that were there. I walked there myself, even with the engineer and folks from my team and so on. Some of that has been removed now, and the contractor is going to proceed with his work very, very soon. It appears the change order is in good order. The specs are, we've reviewed since I've been on board in April, and it's taken us some time, but everything is in good order. Ultimately, going back again, summertime is never the ideal time to close a park. And unfortunately, because of the either transition and circumstances, this is the dilemma that we've been in. So.
Okay. What do you see from this point forward? What are we looking at for time frame?
Sure, and I do have a copy for the board. I actually got, this is an updated current construction schedule from the contractor. And if I may, I'd just like to pass out for the benefit of all the members.
I'll take that.
Sure. I just need, sorry, just need one.
Yes. For the benefit if you grab one, I'll give this, for the benefit of the viewing audience, if you wouldn't mind hitting the dates and the completion percentages.
Sure.
That would be helpful.
And thank you, Counselor, for distributing that. With the construction schedule to Florence Street Playground, and I'll just go through, the simplest way is to go through the months, what we're looking at, and I'll just give a moment for the members.
Okay, I think everyone has.
Okay. With respect to construction schedule, and again, this is the most current. And I apologize, I should have gotten these out in advance to you, the renderings.
Okay, so it looks like the first stage of completion would be November 1st?
Yes, first stage of completion, November 1st, approximately at 30% completion. That is to include the utility work that I was talking at length about. Some of the work, some of the removal has already taken place, and cleaning up of the park, securing the perimeter, to make sure all that's in good order. That's what we're seeing for the date of November. Likewise, in December, gradual progress at 40% completion. During the springtime, months of April, May. Now, here's where you add some flexibility here. If it's a good winter, and not like last winter, this April 1st, 50% completion could actually be sooner. And truth be told, we could see this timetable move up by a month, which would be great news. To be at 50% completion in April, and month of May working at 70%, and then when we get to the months of June and July, ultimately, and important to note, July 1st would be to be at 100% completion. But usually in these projects, by the time you get to the month of June, you're ultimately looking at punch list items, kind of closing out testings of the system and so on. So this is how can I explain it? I don't want to say conservative, but a cautious schedule to allow for some flexibility, and cautious in the sense of the winter months, because that's always the unknown. So all completion dates, as noted on here, are subject to the weather conditions.
Okay, so this revised construction schedule, is this a merger of Phase 1 and Phase 2?
Oh,
So,
I apologize.
Or is it just one phase?
I'm sorry, because you did ask that question in the beginning. This pertains to Phase 1.
Okay.
And let me explain for the public's benefit, of course, for the council's benefit.
Sure.
When I'm talking about Phase 1, and in this packet that I handed out, actually Phase 1 is shown on sheet 5 in word of caution. There's a note on here, there are 2 sheets 5. If it makes sense, the enlargement site plan, Phase 1, sheet 5, is this sheet that I'm looking at here. Which I'll describe for the benefit of the council and the public. Essentially, you're looking at the 3 play areas. Long story, the area of where your basketball court is located. Item I is the splash park. L is the refurbished tot lot, which is actually prior to the work on the park. The tot lot was in very good condition. That one there. Item F is the new play structure, again with rubber matting and so on. You see the landscaping plan on there. As I said, excessive in a positive note, amount of trees there. Uplighting as well will be in there. So this is what we see in the Phase 1.
Okay.
Phase 2 is the ball field area, and this whole pack is emphasis on Phase 1. We have some renderings what the splash pad would look like, I should say. But with respect to Phase 2, it is the ball field area where the community gardens are, yep. and that section. Phase 2 design was actually in the CIP that was recently approved, and I am in the process of putting, when we get substantial progress on this Phase 1, I would like to put that out for design services, and the CIP, I believe off the top, it's about $150,000 for the Phase 2 work, the design work, I should say. Okay. Following the same fashion, though, again, as I said, the goal, even with the design work, is we don't want to be in the situation that we were this year of closing the park for the summer. So we want to do design work on the off-season points. So that will be emphasized in the design schedule and leading up to the construction schedule. Like I said, we have a great team now, and especially with the P on board, will assist with the review of this stuff well in advance. So I think we'll have some really good specs for everyone.
Couple of quick questions about the current condition down there.
Yes.
From your time frame here, November 1st, looking at 30% completion, we've got that huge mound of dirt.
Yes.
Does that need to be there? Who's responsible for removing that?
Sure. So the contractor is ultimately responsible for all of the site work that's there. The perimeter is now secured, and with that mound of dirt that's there, and any other debris and rubbish that's there, it is the responsibility of the contractor to take care of that. Okay. The important to note, though, again, it's always a concern with the perimeter. Once the perimeter is secure, there's no reason for people to access the park, because it is unsafe in the current conditions. So.
Okay. So as far as the perimeter, the security of the perimeter, there is a breach in 2 areas. On Luke Road, there's an opening, and it's about 2 feet wide. So you can get in onto the ball field side. And then at the backstop, it's open about 18 inches. So you can still access the dirt mound, the cement, the poles. If you're a child, you're going to go there. It's Disneyland. It's an attractive nuisance. They're going to go down there. They've been down there. So if we're going to leave it in that condition for a while, we need to make sure we secure those 2 locations, Luke Road and then right by the backstop. The other thing is, if that pile of dirt is going to stay there, the residents that abut the park have been very patient. They've been looking at quite a bit of overgrowth, and they've also been experiencing the dust and dirt flying in their backyard over the summer months. So I would request the contractor grab it and take it out of there. If it's secure and we're all set, they should put some sort of a protective barrier up so that the neighbors are able to continue to use their backyards while the weather permits. And then we've got to make sure that we secure the perimeter, as I mentioned. And if we could do something with the extensive overgrowth, because that's going under the fence.
Sure.
It's going into their property. We as a city aren't being a good neighbor. So we want to be a good neighbor. And
we will take care of that. And,
Great.
and with respect to the fence, I will talk to DPW to assist in tightening that up.
And I do know that there was a transition in your office, so I don't want the folks at home to think this is all on you. There was a transition. It is a big project. We are all very eager to see it go to completion. The designs are beautiful, so we just want to move forward. I don't have any other further questions, so I'll yield the floor. I do thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Napolitano?
Thank you. All right. First of all, I love these designs. I've been using that park for over 50 years. Yes, I'm that old. And it was a dust bowl when I was a kid. I remember when the first time they put trees up. I've talked to a number of the residents too. I think as long as the dust issues get resolved, that's one of their concerns. One of the other concerns that keep coming up, and I realize this is all time frame for phase 1.
Yes.
Is there any discussion, and if so, if we're forced to utilize the ball field, which I understand is phase 2, in the same manner as we used it this past winter as a snow field, will that have any effect on, now grant the weather itself, I understand will have an effect on this timetable, but utilizing that, being forced to utilize that again, will that be an issue? Will that add any additional time to this, or is that unrelated because it's a different section of the park?
No, that's a great question. Over the past winter, unusual circumstances, but as I recall, the area of the basketball courts was used for parking for the residents. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the situation. No, maybe I'm in error, but the ball field itself was used for dumping. I hope it won't be an issue, but certainly last year was very, very unusual. But if it is again, I would have to. I'll certainly be working in coordination with DPW to make certain that the phase 1 work is able to continue, and that that everything is in good order when the snow has melted, hopefully in March, and that everything is secure. But again, with respect to the point about the dust and basically being a good neighbor, I get that, and I'll follow up with DPW and also my team to take care of that tomorrow morning.
And I'll make a point to impart to the people I've spoken to down the area as well, that, part of this is you've identified some issues with the original plan. You're bringing some improvements. So I mean, I think that's great. I mean, this is the primary park and playground in Ward 1. We have the tot lot over by the stadium, and then we have the lined park, which is barely used. Okay, so this is an important part of Ward 1's community. So yeah, I'm glad to see it again. I love the design. I think it's great. There's a nice even flow to it. I don't recall what the previous design was, so I don't know if it's as different or the same, but I do like this design.
Thank you. It's actually the same. I like the design as well. I'll love it a lot more when it's done and it's implemented, and we all will, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked some issues down there. The fence line, especially up on Florence Street. I mean, years ago there was no support. There really wasn't much of a support wall up there. There was a lot of loose dirt. Great place to play combat, but also a great place to get hurt.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that in the past too.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, going on the design again, the amount of trees, there'll be native trees of significant caliber and ultimately able to grow and bloom and whatnot. We'll have more trees than what we had before.
And lighting.
Yes.
Because that's always been a big issue down there from the residents as well. At night, kids would play basketball until the lights go off.
Yes.
Hang around in the dark areas. We've requested many times in the past several years for some type of overhead lighting to brighten it up. This is in these plans, correct?
So with respect to the overhead lighting, there's some existing lighting in the basketball court area. When I'm referencing lighting, there will be lighting in the park. There'll be some uplighting, particularly at the main entrance of where you have the flags and the sign itself. But the elements of lighting and with respect to the basketball courts and particularly especially the ball field and so on, that comes into discussion of Phase 2. But the uplighting of the trees, of the flags, of the signage and so on, the ornamental fencing that's in the design as well, those aspects that I'm talking about are part of the Phase 1. But lighting is a very important component for the park.
The old trees were counterproductive to trying to illuminate some of these areas that the neighbors had concerns with. So.
They were. So, but they weren't. Again, the reason why they were cut was because of a public safety concern, and with the new trees will be an enhanced park, full beautification. So
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Marchese?
Only two quick questions.
Yes, sir.
I think that what we're doing here, if we're ever going to discuss it, we probably should discuss it in committee, not here tonight. Just two questions. Is the $2.2 million that they're looking for the appropriation money needed to finish this program?
No, the 2.2, which is, and thank you for the question. The 2.2 is for the Meadows Cairns Park, which would love to talk in greater detail in committee.
Okay, so this is fully funded, this park, right?
Yes, this park is 1.4 million, and it's been that's for the Phase 1
Phase
section.
1.
Yes.
And this is a separate allocation?
No, so this rendering that I gave you, this is the Phase 1, and that's that 1.4 million. It's 400,000 in 400,000 CDBG funding, which is the state funding we received. We also got a special grant also from the state, another 200,000, and then the 800,000 was thanks to the support of the city, of this council for this work.
The second question is there visibility for the exterior, like around the basketball courts? Is there visibility at nighttime if police would drive by and, check out the...
Yes, that's the aspects of the visibility, and particularly, there's high points on the different access points. The element of visibility for security purposes is incorporated in the design.
Okay.
So.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Councilor Della Sola?
Yes.
Everything you gave us here from November to July 1st of next year, that's only Phase 1 at the top.
Correct.
You're starting in 2 weeks.
I'm sorry?
You're going to start in 2 weeks over there?
The contractor's on the move now, so.
All right, thank you.
Second motion.
Thank you, thank you.
Counselor Capone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the piece, I would like to lay this over to our next meeting, just to make sure that we have everything secured, make sure that the barrier is up for the neighbors, and at that point, hopefully, I'll be referring it back to sponsor.
Motion made to lay this over to the next meeting, and all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Suspend the rules, please take item 22 off the agenda.
Second?
Yes.
Item number 22, resolution sponsored by Council Salvatore Sachetta, City of Everett, being Uber, Lyft, Sidecar, and any other type of ride for hire vehicles. Is not licensed by the City of Everett, as we license all cabs in this city. Those cabs that hire that operate without license do not have to abide by rules and/or regulations.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I believe number 23 is also,
Item number 23, communication from Mr. Lester Moravitz, DBA of Car Service, would request a ban, place a ban on Uber and all related companies until they abide in full compliance with Everett's taxi and livery ordinance.
Okay, so we suspended the rules, took items number 22 and 23 collectively, correct?
yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, actually, we need, I need someone on the floor to make that motion. We already did, okay, there we go. We were putting it together. So, motion on the floor from Council Hanlon, and seconded?
Second.
Okay, was to amend the rules, suspend the rules, take items 22 and 23 collectively. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have item 22 in front of us now. Council Sachetta.
Yes, in the last month or so, there's been a lot on TV about this. And when we first brought this up, we were asking for a ban on these cab drivers in this city. Since that, there's an article in the Boston Globe that states that Boston ridership on regular taxis dropped down 22% because of these Uber drivers and so on. Just yesterday at the State House, there was a one-day hearing on cab drivers complaining about the different problems with Uber and this other cab company. Just today, watching TV, before I came to this meeting, a cab representative, union representative, stated that there were 33 cases of sexual harassment or sexual assault on women by Uber drivers. The fact of the matter is, these drivers are not licensed. They don't have to pay for insurance. They don't have to pay for a medallion. They use regular registration plates. Why are we allowing this to happen? I mean, it's not fair to any cab company in the United States for these cab drivers to be driving our citizens around without the proper insurance, without the proper inspection by the police department, without a number of things that have to happen for cab drivers to have a license in the city. So therefore, I requested at the last meeting the city solicitor look into this as far as a ban of it. But the fact of the matter is, we don't have to ban them. We just say they can't operate in this city until they are licensed properly, insured properly, and so on and so forth. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not trying to ban them, but let's have them operate on the same basis of any cab company in the United States, with all the regulations that have to be put into a cab company. We okay their license, the police inspect them, and so on and so forth, and the state issues a cab hackney license. And that's all I'm asking for.
If I may, from the chair, Council, I think what we had done, because there was, at one point in time, we had something, we were looking to regulate livery companies and things of that nature, and we've kind of deferred, waiting to see what the state's going to do, because we didn't want to do anything that was counter to what the state was doing. Very timely point, as you mentioned, they just had a hearing up at the State House. So, and I want to ask the clerk, I just want to make sure that I'm accurate on that. I think we deferred action pending state regulation.
Right.
So
yeah, we wanted to see what the state, it was the will of the council to see what the state was gonna do, so that there's actually been talk about, like in the case of livery and other cases, where they would take over certain regulation. So we wanna know what the council wanted to know what they wanted to do, what they were gonna do.
So-
And then we were gonna jump in and see, is the state gonna require them to be licensed like everybody else?
So what we're doing, Mr. Clerk, is we're not issuing any licenses for liveries or Uber or anything like that. If people are operating, they're operating, but they're not doing it with.
We're not issuing business certificates, or there's a letter they get that allows them to go to Massport. Unless they already have one, we're not renewing anything
Okay.
like that.
I just
We'll
want-
renew them, but issue no new ones.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear on that. Counsel DeFlorio.
Unfortunately, this Uber driver everything is online. You are not calling a number. When you call the cab, you're calling the cab company, you're calling the company that's in Everett or that's in Malden, and they're coming for licenses. Uber is online, so I don't know how the state is gonna fix that problem. How do you give someone a license? It's like the same thing, you order something on Amazon. So you're saving money by ordering online, but you're not going directly to a store where you say, well, we're gonna charge the store extra taxes. This is Uber, you're ordering by a phone. You're not calling a specific company. So it's gonna be kind of difficult, and we did ask the city solicitor to come up with some things if we want to invite her up. She has been waiting here all that time for this reason, so.
I thought she was just interested in that meeting.
I don't think so.
Do you have any information to shed on that, Colleen? If it's the will of the council, we could have our city solicitor before
Well,
us.
it's up to the sponsor, I certainly don't wanna take over his fees, but.
Colleen, sure, come on forward. Thank you. If you could, please, for the record, just reintroduce yourself.
Colleen Mejia.
Thank you, Colleen. If you could shed some light on anything that
Sure.
you may have researched at this point.
Yeah, so last time this was on the agenda, I had indicated that I had some concerns about the constitutionality of banning Uber, and I still stand by that. However, I do have a little bit of information about what the two bills at the State House would be, if they passed, what they would entail. And the one that the governor, I think, is sponsoring would propose a two-part background check for all the drivers who drive for Uber, Lyft, and any of those types of companies. And one, I guess, is a national background check done by an outside company. And then another one is a comprehensive Commonwealth of Massachusetts background check, and that would include criminal background check, CORI and a SORI. SORI is a sexual offender background, and also through the Registry of Motor Vehicles, a driving history. And it would also require them to have liability insurance in addition to their automobile insurance. And then there's another related bill that would require, in addition to all the background checks, fingerprinting and I think regulation on pricing.
Okay, thank you. Counsel Hanlon.
Yeah, same question I was gonna ask before our learned solicitor came here. What are the status of all these bills? I mean, are they in committee? Are they
They're in
working? Are they
committee.
getting ready to come out? Is there any way that we can, ourselves, can check on them, like on a weekly basis to say, oh, you can, somebody can?
Yeah, I think we can track them, and we can also use our resources through the senator and the rep. But they're in committee, and it seems as though it would make its way through the legislature within several weeks.
Are they all in the same committee?
Yes, the Financial Services Committee.
Which committee?
Financial Services.
Financial services? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Counsel De La Sola.
Would a limousine company they don't go by the same rules as a taxi cab, correct?
No, they're livery, so it's a different type.
And Uber couldn't fall under that?
I don't know how they would fall, depending on, I guess, what the outcome of the, how the state wanted to regulate them.
I'm just looking at, will they try to fall under? I know the people that drive and own the vehicles, I'm just trying to see if they're gonna try to fall underneath.
They're driving what kind of vehicles?
Well, they're driving their own.
Oh, their own, yeah.
Their own vehicles
Yep.
compared to a limousine
Yeah.
owns a limousine vehicle
Right.
itself. I just don't know if they're gonna try
Yeah.
to fall underneath that to
It'll
get
be
away from.
it'll be interesting to see how, what regulation they would best fit.
How long you think until we?
Several weeks.
The state could be, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none?
Will be excused for
Excuse
customary
customary
thanks.
thanks. Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
What is your pleasure with the peace, Council?
I'd probably think that we should lay this on the table till we hear from the State House in regards to what their rules and regulations, and then we adopt those rules and regulations here in the city. So that's my motion, to lay it on the table.
Second.
And wait for the city to
Okay.
get the law.
So the motion, yeah, it's a similar thing that we did do with liveries. So the motion is made to lay it on the table pending resolution by the state.
Correct.
We have a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Mr. Clerk, did you read item number 23?
The same item? Oh.
Okay. So we have item number 23. What's the
Same,
pleasure, council?
same resolution for item number 3. I mean, same
Actually, a motion,
recommendation.
accept the communication, place on file.
Second on that?
Second.
It's moved and second to accept the communication, place on file, no action to be taken until there's a final resolution at the state level. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will revert.
We on number 2 yet?
Yeah, I think it's number 2, isn't it? The chair would entertain a motion to suspend the rules, take items 2, 3, and 4 collectively, read them individually, and accept the donations with a letter of thanks going out to the proper parties.
So, second.
It's been moved and second to
Yes.
suspend the rules, take items 2, 3, and 4 collectively, accept the donations with a letter of thanks going out to the parties. Clerk will call the roll.
Read the calendar.
Well, I'm sorry, clerk will read the pieces, and then we'll call the roll. Getting ahead of myself.
Item number 2 is a donation of $160 from City Hall employees to the Department of Veteran Services account. Number 3 is a donation of $1,000 from Margaret B.B. Lovett to the Council of Aging. Number 4 is a donation of $1,000 from the Levitt Corporation to the Village Fest celebration.
All right, motion,
Second?
it's been moved and second, favorable action with, to accept the donations with a letter of thanks out to the respective parties. Clerk will call the roll.
Council Delasola.
Yes.
Councilor DeFlorio. Yes. Council Hanlon.
Yes.
Council Mangan. Council Marquez.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Council Sachetta.
Yes.
Council Sani.
Yes.
Council Simonelli.
Yes.
Council Capone.
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
10 yeas, 0 nays, you have granted those orders. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 7.
I number 7, notice that bond policy for Top Cars of Boston LLC, DBA Inman Motor Sales at 1760 Revere Beach Parkway, Everett, Mass. for $25,000 has been canceled and voided as of October 1st, 2015.
Council Marquez.
If I may, through you to the clerk, what would that have on that license? What effect?
As, it's basically informing the council that as of October 1st, that's the $25,000 in case they have to go to an arbitrator or a mediator regarding a sale. Basically, as of October 1st, 2015, they would receive a letter from my office saying, please cease and desist all operations, you're not abiding by state law.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you.
We're getting far too many of these, by the way. That's why this one is on the agenda, because this isn't the only one. We're getting far too many where they get their bond and then let them lapse.
Council Hanlon.
Mr. Chair,
Thank
make
you,
a
Mr.
motion, we
Clerk.
refer this back to the city clerk with a recommendation to follow the suggestions so made by the city clerk come October 1st.
It's moved and second to refer the item to the city clerk, supporting the recommendations that he had suggested at this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read the next item of business. I believe it's item number 12.
12.
Item number 12, legislative affairs, committee report that section 1, chapter 8 of, chapter 8 of the municipal code of the city of Everett shall be amended by adding section 70 as follows: fire hydrant markers with recommendation for favorable action for the council's edification.
Committee report?
Fourth big word today. The description of the marker has been added to the ordinance.
Will we
Thank
accept
you,
the
Mr.
committee
Clerk.
report, Mr. Chairman?
It's moved and second to accept the committee report. All in
Favorable
favor?
action?
Second on favorable action?
Okay, so it's moved and second to accept the committee report. Vote favorably. Clerk, call the roll.
Council Delasola.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio. Yes. Council Hanlon.
Yes.
Council
Yes.
Marquez.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Counsel Sujata?
Yes.
Counsel Sani?
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli?
Yes.
Counsel Capone?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays, Mr. President.
10 yeas, 0 nays, I believe we have enrolled. The chair would entertain a motion to suspend the rules and take items 13 and 14 collectively.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Move and second, suspend the rules, take items 13 and 14 collectively. Clerk will read items 13 and 14. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Clerk will read items 13 and 14.
Number 13, Government Operations, Public Safety and Service Report to invite Everett Overcoming Addiction Group to committee meeting to discuss drug addiction with a recommendation that Mrs. Scalisi provide ECTV with resources and recovery month event. Number 14, Government Operations, Public Safety, Public Service Report to have members of the Everett Residents Overcoming Addiction Organization to appear before Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety and Service to explain what resources are out there and to be informed about addiction in our city. With the recommendation, Mrs. Scalisi provide ECTV resources and recovery month events.
Counsel McKinnon.
Chairman.
Yeah, that, well, I would like to make
Accept
sure
the
that
communication.
accept the communication, place on file.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to accept the communication. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? On the Peace Council?
And that ECTV post any and all reports or any and all things that she's going to be coming in with on TV so that they can have them for, Recovery Month and also any resources that she has.
Okay, so refer to ECTV?
Yes.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Moved and second to refer items 13 and 14 ECTV. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business. I
Chairman?
believe it's item number 16.
Chairman?
Counsel Hanlon.
There's a second portion of that that says, I've lost it, where was it? But asking her to appear at a committee.
Oh, she already did, Counselor.
okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, though, Counselor. Next item is item number 16.
Item number 16, Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety and Service Report that the Everett Police Department consider equipping the officers with body cameras with recommendation the matter be referred to the mayor for further discussions and that opinions be provided by the Solicitor, Police Superior Union, and Boston, my goodness, Police Patrolman Union on the utilization of body cameras.
It's been
Refer
moved and
this to
seconded
the,
committee report.
I'd like to refer this to the mayor's office with a response at our last meeting, October. Month
Is
from
there a
now.
second on that? It's been moved and seconded to accept the committee report, refer the item to the mayor's office with a request for a response by our second meeting in October, was it, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay. On the motion, Counselor Hanlon.
What about the, including also the city superior union and the police patrol?
It's in the piece. It's in the piece. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Counselor, what's the question?
It says we should refer it not only to the mayor's office, but to other places, to 3 other places. I want to make sure that it gets referred to those 3 places and not just the mayor's office.
It's a good point. The folks were here, I think they were told early, but we're acting on it as a body. I think it's a good point. If you want to amend the motion to include
I would amend the motion to
those.
include the city solicitor, the police superior union, and police patrolman union officers.
Okay. It's moved and second to amend the motion. So the motion before the body is accept the report, refer to the mayor's office, refer to the city solicitor, refer to the police superior union and the police patrolman union, and ask for a response for our second meeting in October. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've so moved. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 17.
Item number 17, Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety and Service Report on meeting with regards to Yarmouth Street, Ashland Street, Coolidge Street safety concerns with a recommendation refer back to sponsor.
Counsel McKinnon.
We had a excessive communication placed on file.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the communication. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
We had the opinion from the city
Counsel
solicitor, and we'll go with the city solicitor's opinion on this matter, and I'll refer back to sponsor.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to refer item 17 back to sponsor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 19.
Item number 19, Committee on Community and Business Development Report on order for license and communication with Mr. Paratosh Patel, owner of Route 99 Spoke Shop, requesting leave withdraw without prejudice on his earlier request for extended hours of operation.
Accept committee report placed on file.
Accept communication, put file.
Moved and seconded to accept the committee report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? On the piece itself? Is there anything we need to do, Mr. Clerk? I don't think we do. Do we?
I thought we already addressed this.
We've already addressed it in
Yeah,
committee.
I think so, okay. Well, we accepted the committee report, I think that
That's it, right?
that addresses the piece.
Yeah, allowing him to withdraw?
Yep,
Okay.
okay, there you go. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 20. The petitioner has been allowed to withdraw without prejudice. It was the committee recommendation, we accepted that.
No, so you should vote on it.
Okay, so, well, that's the matter in front of us, I guess. All in favor? Well, actually, is there a motion on the floor? The motion, if there is
The
one, that's
motion was
being
to
sought is
accept
to,
the committee report.
which allowed the
and
withdrawal with
Which
prejudice.
will allow the petitioner to withdraw
Mm-hmm.
the original petition that he put in.
yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and it's been moved and second to allow the petitioner to withdraw. On the motion, Counsel Hanlon.
Mr. Chairman, on the motion, I don't agree with the motion for the fact of the matter is that if we allow him to draw without prejudice, means that he can come back at any time to do the same thing. I don't think we're giving him the proper answer. The proper answer should be, no, we should not allow him to, the petition to withdraw. We should refuse it. That way, he can't come back in 6 months and say, well, I'd like to try it again. This way, he'll know damn well that we're not gonna allow that petition to go through. So I'm against that, and if it doesn't pass, I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second on that motion? Seeing,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
On the point,
Counsel DeFlorio.
Counsel Healy makes a very good point. But even if we refuse it, he can still bring it back in 6 months, right?
Let me check with the clerk.
Yeah, the point is, he was never denied.
Okay.
We have to deny him, right?
He was never denied, so he just wants to withdraw it. He's never been denied it. So that's what he's trying to do, is have it just withdrawn.
So if I may, Mr. Clerk, he
So
was
yes,
looking
he
for
can come
extended
back
hours.
yeah.
He was looking for extended hours.
Right.
He wants to withdraw it. What is, and I think what the council's getting is, what are the ramifications of allowing him to withdraw versus an outright denial? Is there any time frame that he's stopped from coming back?
Unlike a license, this is a permit, so I don't see any restriction on them coming back as there is, as a good counselor knows, on certain licenses and stuff. If you're denied, you can't come back, what is it, 2 years?
6 months and some 2 years. and
Some are 2 years. I don't see that restriction on the extended hours.
Okay.
So if he's denied, I believe he could come back at any time.
Okay,
And-
so either way, it's gonna have the same
Right.
net result. Okay.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
So the
But
motion
the
that
point,
was
Mr.
made.
Chairman,
I think it was more for goodwill than,
Okay.
than
Right. The point, Mr. Chairman, that I'm trying to make is
Counsel Hanlon.
that if we give him, say, okay, you can withdraw, okay? That means that we're not so concerned about it, but I'm saying we should not allow him to withdraw. We should refuse him the permission for being allowed open, whatever those hours are. That way, when he comes back, he'll know that this group is against him opening up those hours.
Okay.
That's my whole idea.
That's the motion on the floor. Is there a second to that? All right, so the original, okay, it's been moved and second. So we have two motions in front of us. One is to deny the request to withdraw, and the second motion is, could we shut the green lights off on the ones that aren't speaking, because we're getting feedback?
Chairman,
Thank you.
excuse me, I'll withdraw my motion and go with Counsel Healy's motion. That's same thing.
Okay, so, well, Counsel Napolitano, there's more discussion on the piece, Counsel Napolitano.
yeah. I'm not aware that we've had any problems with this business. Have we? Has there been any issues with down there?
not that I know of. I don't know.
I actually have. And I don't smoke tobacco, I don't do anything else down there, but I have walked by there. And my only concern is, I have no problem with that motion if we had a business that we've had problems with. But here we have a business that has come up here, I think he understands we're not in favor of it. He did put up with some comments regarding how his business could potentially be used, which I have some liability questions on or concerns with, how that could come back negatively on us. I think in the spirit of goodwill, he understands that we're not in favor of this. Why are we making an issue? You accept his request to withdraw the request, and then let's deal with it down the road if it comes back on us. But I don't see any reason why we're being harsh with this guy. I don't. And for that reason, I think that if we are, because of other comments that were made previously while he was here, we open ourselves up for some bias issues. Just have some concerns about that. So,
Any other discussion on the piece? Seeing none, we have two motions. The first motion that was made was to allow the individual to withdraw without prejudice, and the second one is to decline that and just refuse him the extended hours. So the first motion will be to allow him to withdraw. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, so that has carried. So the petitioner will be allowed to withdraw without prejudice. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 20.
Item number 20, Committee on Community and Business Development Report on Communication from Marchese Associates Legal Services relative to Supreme Cars being renamed Crimson Auto LLC at 163 Ferry Street.
Second communication, place on file.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the communication on the piece, Councilor DeFlorio.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is only a change of name. Everything is, I believe, is all set as far as the paperwork, Mr.
Yeah, the license already exists, he's changing the name.
Yeah, the license already exists, it's only a change of name. So I just wanted everybody to know that, and I ask for favorable action on your.
It's been moved and second. This is in order?
No, he's just informing us, but.
So it's a resolution, it's just a
Yeah.
voice vote.
Oh, just a resolution, okay.
So the motion before, accept the communication and to accept it as to the name change. All in favor? All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 21.
Item number 21, resolution sponsored by the entire Everett City Council. Senator DiDomenico, Representative McGonigal, work to get some form of relief or compensation for Everett residents from ASPA for the increased air traffic over the city of Everett.
If I may, from the chair, there was a communication that was received by our clerk of committees that the senator has some information on this, so the chair would entertain a motion to lay this on the table to our next meeting to give the senator an opportunity to present that. It's been moved and second to lay this item on the table to our next meeting. All in favor? All opposed? So moved. Clerk will read the next item of business. I believe it's item number 28.
Item number 28, resolution sponsored by Councilor John Lee McKinnon, Health Director, appear before the Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety and Service, report on what's been done to date on mosquito repelling in regards to West Nile problems and public safety concerns.
Refer to Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second to refer to the Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety, and Public Service. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 30.
Item number 30, resolution sponsored by Councilor John Lee McKinney, Chief of Police, appear to discuss recent spree of shootings over the weekends to see what has been done to stop this activity.
Councilor McKinnon?
I spoke to the chief today in length about this. He informed me that we already, let me see.
No, item number 30. We're on item number 30. You have the floor,
Yeah,
Councilor.
okay. I spoke to him today in length, and he had a medical issue, that's why he wasn't here tonight, so he said, he gave me the updates on everyone that's going on. The homicide one, it's still an open investigation, basically a group on group, and people on both sides are bad people, he said, so. And the license was rolled back on that property that was involved, so there was some type of movement with that. There's also an open investigation, so that's all he could give to me. The Prospect Street incident was still open. It's still open investigation. It was a target attack, no random, and it was a suspect on victim. We're known, and they were known to each other. The Malden incident that happened on our borders was a suspect was arrested in that incident and with cooperation with Everett and Malden police and surrounding cities and towns, so they arrested them. So that's an update on it, and he just wanted me to be brief on it because there's 2 open investigations now.
Thank you, Councilor. What's your pleasure on the piece?
I'll refer this back to sponsor, and if it comes back up again, then what we'll do is we'll have the chief up before us.
Thank you, Councilor. There a second on that? Second. Moved and second to refer item number 30 back to sponsor. All in favor? All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk, read the next item of business, item number 31.
Number 31, resolution sponsored by Council Rosa DeFlorio, Council Centisani, that the Water Enterprise and Mayor looking to putting a second media for gardening.
Councilor DeFlorio.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, you know, the sewer bill has gone astronomical. And we understand that MWRA charges us, and we have to charge the people. But we're also talking about green space. We're talking about parks. We're talking about beautiful trees. Unfortunately, we all like to keep our homes like that, too. But in order to have nice green grass, you have to water it. And we feel that now that the water is just astronomical, that I believe that a second meter, why should we be paying for sewage when we're not, we're watering our lawns? We want the green space. I'm getting to a point where if I get another high water bill, I'm gonna cement everything, my front lawn and everything, just put a few pots of flowers in it, and that's it. Because it's really expensive, so I'd like to see if the mayor and the water department will get together with the MWRA to see what they can do to give the people in Everett that do have lawns, that do care about their homes, that do want green grass or trees or flowers, a little relief. So my motion is, after everybody gets through speaking, obviously, is to send it to the mayor's office and give us an answer in 2 weeks to see if we can basically do something in regards to putting a second meter on.
Counsel Sani.
Thank you. I do agree with Council DeFlorio. Also, we did have a second meter a few years back, and they took them away. And, you know, I have no reason why or what was going on, and, you know, the homeowners didn't either. So I do agree with Council DeFlorio. We do need to have some relief here if they want to, you know, keep watering their lawns and keep everything nice. And, you know, we're doing gardening too now. People are doing more of that too. So I do agree with Council DeFlorio about sending it to the mayor and getting some answer back in a few weeks.
Okay. Counsel Hanlon.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just a point of information, I'm aware of that, we did have those meters years ago, and they were taken away. The reason they were taken away is because people were piping this second meter back into their homes. And I agree with this, I like to see a second meter in, but we also have to have a way of making sure that it's only used for gardening, or for washing your car, or filling your swimming pool, whatever it happens to be, and not that they're going to recycle it back into their homes and use it for their main water supply. So
Thank you, Hanlon. Thank you, Counselor. So the motion before us is to refer to the mayor's office with a request for a response next meeting. Do we have a second on that? Okay, and it's been seconded.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 33.
Item number 33, resolution sponsored by Council Salzachetta. I would like to have some head of the Water Enterprise Department appear to explain the increases in the water bills that just went out, especially the sewer charges. Could we possibly use some of the access money we have charged residents to reduce the large water bills, especially those that live on a fixed income, or maybe something similar to the exemption we apply on our real estate taxes for homeowners?
Counsel Sachetta.
Yes, I have a number of questions I wanted to ask whoever it might have been to come up from the Water Enterprise Department. And I see no one here, so I'd like to lay this on the table and discuss it at our next meeting, because I do have a number of questions I want to ask regarding this.
Sure. So you want to request that they appear at our next meeting, Counselor?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Chairman, I'd like to second the motion, but I'd like to find out who are we going to invite up?
It's got someone from the Water Enterprise Department, whoever.
The head of the Water Department, the Water Enterprise. I believe they have a director and an assistant. And neither one are here, so I'd like to have them here so I could ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah, with that,
It's moved
invite
and second to refer this to the Water Department, for them to appear at our next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk, read the next item of business, item number 34.
Item number 34 is an order sponsored by Council Fred Capone, President, that the City Council renew the independent audit contract for FY 16 to 18 with Powers and Sullivan LLC.
So moving second favorable action. Quick question for our clerk. We're approving the contract. We're not actually expending any funds. We don't need to suspend the Rule 13 or anything, do we, or no?
I think the city has to.
I think by doing the contract, I mean,
You're in
by renewing the
effect
contract, paying them.
approving it.
Yeah,
Should we suspend Rule 13 to be safe?
I would. Just
Chair will
always be-
entertain a
always
motion
on
to
the safe
suspend.
side.
Yeah. Chair will entertain a motion to suspend Rule 13.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're so suspended. It's moved and second for favorable action on the piece. Clerk, call the roll.
Council Della Sola.
Yes.
Council DeFlorio.
Yes.
Council Hanlon.
Yes.
Council Marquez.
Yes.
Council McKinnon.
Yes.
Council Napolitano.
Yes.
Council Sachetta.
Yes.
Council Sani.
Yes.
Counsel Simonelli?
Yes.
Counsel Capone?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
10 yeas, 0 nays, you have granted the order. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 35.
Item number 35, resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marquez, city give back 90% of the $30 million in fees to the tax and/or water bill and significant 75% after that.
Counsel Marquez.
Yes. I know recently we had some action down at the wind site, so I'm sure that the first installment will come to the city of Everett, which we agreed we'd put into a special fund, which, to me, I'd rather give it back to the city, but needless to say, it's a special fund, and who knows, maybe we can do some touch-up on the parks, and use the money for improvements to upgrade the city a little bit. But the second part of it is 12.5 and 12.5, leading into the, complete, job completion, which I'm sure will be sufficiently more than 12.5%. I mean, I can't see why for those 2 years, considering the inconvenience we'll have with the dirt flying, the trucks, and all the construction work and the traffic backups, during the construction time, probably the worst time we have here in the city of Everett. I mean, to be able to give 90% of that particular feedback, to give back to the city, if you could give that much money back, and you could probably, tighten the belt a little bit, you could probably knock off 5 to 8% of your total budget. And like you're talking about, you could put it, there could be a savings to the people, which, doesn't seem like a lot, but, when you get that extra full tank of oil during the winter, I'm sure it works. And it doesn't make sense for us to build something this grand and have to pay the same amount of taxes. We should be reducing the taxes on the people while improving the quality of living. I mean, and I can't see why, we can't give back, maybe not this year, but we get the $12.5 million for the second or third year leading to the completion of the project. We can't take that money and put it right on you can put it on the water bill. You can put it on the taxes. You can put on anything you want. But this still leaves $1 million to play around with. And that's what I'd like to see.
Okay. Counsel McKinnon.
I concur. I think that we're going to be having a casino here. We're going to have building. We're going to have all that type of activity going on. We should be getting something for it. We may have a traffic issue. We may have whatever issues that arise from this. So I think that we should get some type of relief. And I thought that was the enticing part of the whole conversation that we were having out here with these people, to explain to them that, Mr. Chairman, that we were actually going to be getting some type of relief, whether it be tax-wise or water-wise. We were going to get something to that effect. So I concur with my colleague, and I believe that this is something that we need to do. So I'd like to see this happen.
On the piece, what's the pleasure? Would you like to refer it to the mayor's office?
I'd like to refer this to the mayor's office. It's a really reconsideration. I think that the next 2 or 3 years, when the building starts, the toughest part of the city is going to be doing the construction part. And we know that when they start digging out there, and there's dust and there's containment, and they're improving the traffic, the traffic coming in and out, the city of Boston to Everett, or whatever they're going to do. I mean, I've seen some signs where they actually start in Revere. So there's going to be a lot of action going on there on top of them building a new casino. So, I mean, I can't see why the city can't, for their inconvenience, for those 2 years, get 90% of the second 12.5 and 12.5. We have the $5 billion here now. We can use it and whatever, if we're going to need extra details, whatever, because I believe we don't get the extra money for the security until the casino actually goes online. So, I mean, so be it, but I'd like to refer this to the mayor's office, I could, for...
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to refer this item to the mayor's office. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 36.
Item number 36, a resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marquez, city place signs eliminating left on Beecham Street until 9 a.m. Post proper signings directing cars and trucks to 16 West.
Council Marquez.
This is actually, we started with, Mr. Hill was mayor. We're going to try something similar to this. And if anybody's down Lower Broadway, the biggest snag down there is that left going on Beecham Street between trucks and cars. There's no reason why we can't get any car that's coming heading to Boston and have proper signage that will redirect them on 16 East, which has no traffic at all in the morning, because nothing goes that way. and redirect them to Second Street, let them come in the back way or the bypass to Boston. I think it's worth the try, and I think if you keep those 2 lanes flowing, and you don't back up where the left is, anybody who's holding signs down there knows where the snarl is. Yeah. It would be the left. You'd be coming down,
Counsel,
heading
through the
toward
chair,
Boston.
through the chair, please, through the chair.
Take the left of Beecham, coming down, because it reduces it to 1 lane most of the time. You'd have your 2 lanes full.
What would you like to do with this piece?
Send it back
Traffic
to
Commission?
traffic, if we could.
Move the second to refer this item to Traffic Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 37.
Item 37, resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marquez, enforce open exits on all city streets, giving access to cars cutting out of streets during traffic.
Council Marquez.
You know, anybody who's on Broadway and any street in the city knows that nobody leaves a hole, and they should be. You can't even come out of the side streets because the cars don't leave space to go left. And I'm sure that's a traffic violation. I just think we should, if we did that, we'd improve the traffic greatly, especially on Broadway. I'd like to refer that also to the Traffic Commission.
Is there a second? It's been moved and second to refer item 37 Traffic Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 38.
Item 38, resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marquez, City Council being notified of all city events in writing or by telephone calls. For example, the wind groundbreaking took place on 9/10/15.
Council Marquez.
Yes, you know, that would have been something that I would have been interested, I'm sure the whole council would have. I found out I was having breakfast, and I looked up and I seen a lot of ladies wearing blue and gold shirts, and we're never notified. I mean, we should be notified for stuff like that. We know if there's a farmer's market, we know if there's a cookout, but we don't know if there's a groundbreaking for when I would just hope that refers to the mayor's office, that they would notify us of something that important in the future.
Second. It's been moved and second to refer this item to the mayor's office. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You've so referred. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 40.
Number 40, resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marquez, community development, explain the future and improvements for Everett Square.
Council Marquez.
Here's a perfect example, the $5 million we just got. Why not put some of that into a fund improvement, maybe a study for the best way to approach Everett Square. I mean, you go to Malden, you see these buildings with retail down below, maybe a different traffic pattern. But if we're gonna use the money from when, let's use it to fix this part of Broadway and, maybe make it so we get a small market down there somewhere. I mean, I don't think the nightclub thing with me, with 200 people in there, maybe if you cut it in half and put a nice market somewhere, and maybe the feasibility of putting additional parking, maybe another story up. I'd refer this to community development, to have someone come before us, tell us there's gotta be something, because there's nothing down there going on.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is to refer this to community development. Do you want to have them before? So
I'd
would
like to
you
have someone
put it in the
come
committee,
before.
do you think? Do you think it would be better served in the committee, you could spend more time with it? Or whatever the pleasure is,
I'd rather
council.
send to a committee, the committee,
And invite them.
community and business development.
And then invite them.
Okay. On the piece, Councilor Napolitano.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great idea, and I think it does need to take further, with further conversation with community development. I mean, a few years back, when I was running for mayor, I proposed the fact that we needed to find a way to be able to convert the second and third floor units on these buildings in the square to residential. By doing that, you develop an in-square population. You also split the tax rate, because now you're paying commercial rate for the first floor and residential for the upstairs. That's how Melrose has become successful. That's the direction that Davis Square went into, and there's now a very successful area. And if we don't do that, the reasons why most of our second and third floor business spaces in the square are vacant is because without parking, without elevators, without handicap access, they can't rent and get it at a decent rate for those figures. If there were a way to convert those into residential, you have an in-house population that doesn't require a car. They're able to take advantage of the mass transportation. So I think that this does need further development. I've been talking at different points with the mayor's office over the past few years, it's not going anywhere, and I'm not faulting anybody for that. But I think that this does need to be a little more forceful, especially with the additional revenue coming in with the casino. Let's divert that so we get some improvement into our downtown retail community. So I support that. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor DeFlorio.
I certainly don't want to go on the piece with the counselor, but I would also like to add, if he doesn't mind, is Norwood Street, I believe, should be more pedestrian-friendly.
That's
I really
Everett
believe they
Square.
should widen the sidewalks, put more tables, and I've been saying this for 10 years, we need parking garages. We're not going anywhere without parking garages, because every city and town surrounding us has parking garages. So it's important that really, that we look into something like this and we start investing money wisely for the future of our city, our children and grandchildren. That's, my opinion.
Sure.
So I would like to see if we could please add that to the piece. I would appreciate it.
Sure, let's have it square, that's,
Yeah, I think it's already incorporated in it.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the entire square. So the motion, unless there's any further discussion, motion is to refer this to Community and Business Development, invite someone from Community Development, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have someone from the mayor's office there too.
sure.
But if that's,
Yeah.
okay, so,
It'd be nice to have everybody here participate too, because we do, that's the part of the city we're forgetting. We're going Lower Broadway, but we're forgetting Everett Square.
sure. Okay. It becomes a committee of the whole if you do that. You
Yeah.
could do that too, so it's the pleasure of the council.
You're welcome to come to it, so.
We can- Okay, so we'll start, we'll start the process somewhere. So the motion is to refer this to Community and Business Development, invite a representative from the mayor's office, and invite someone from Community Development. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so moved. Clerk will read the next item of business, item number 41.
Item number 41, resolution sponsored by Council Michael K. Marchese, city to consider returning meeting hours back to 4 PM except for commercial and retail areas.
Council Marchese.
I'd like to see the city get together and put a definite plan together. You got a heavy commercial areas. I can see it, that you want to keep it to 6 o'clock as people may be open. A lot of times people, they don't even advertise that they're open at 6 until you get a ticket on your car. But there's also parts in the city of Everett that have meters when people come home from work. They don't have parking, they park on the street, they're getting tickets. So I just think somehow we should coordinate the heavy business areas, maybe keep it to 6 o'clock, but more or less the residential areas that have the meters, roll it back to 4 o'clock. So when you come home from work, you can park in front of your house, instead of parking, down some side street, in front of someone else's house, until you can get your car and bring it back. So I guess this would go to traffic also.
Is there a second on that? Second. Moved and second to refer item number 41, Traffic Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred. Clerk will read the final item of business, item number 42.
Item number 42, resolution sponsored by Councilors Capone, Marchese, Michael Marchese, John Leo McKinney, Peter A. Napolitano, Salvatore Sacchetta, that the mayor personally appear at the next city council meeting to discuss the recent trip to Italy by city officials and employees.
Council McKinnon.
Can we refer this to the next meeting, re-invite the mayor and have him appear before us?
There's a communication to be read.
Yeah.
Wait, is the clerk in possession of the communication?
Dear honorable members, regrettably, I cannot attend tonight's meeting due to conflict at my child's school. As I stated in the letter I sent you on June 22nd, several members of my administration and the school department visited our sister city in Assonia, Italy. On this trip, the city presented on public works and police matters and finalized the details of an exchange program for Everett High School students. If you have further questions about the trip, please submit them to me in writing, and I would be happy to address them.
Okay. With that said, I would suggest if the council has questions, we can draft them now. We can refer them to the mayor's office.
Submit them to you.
Yeah.
Should we,
Okay.
well, Mr. President, if we're inviting him down,
Yeah.
why don't we just invite him down and have him come?
Yeah,
and
you know,
answer? That's per our charter.
No, absolutely. What we can do, the clerk just made a good suggestion. We can refer this item to the mayor's office, ask him to appear at the next meeting. Members can put together whatever questions they're interested in, forward them to me. I will forward them to the mayor's office, give him at least the 7 days that they
Yes.
require in order to do that before our next meeting, and he can appear to discuss those questions.
Sure.
If that is acceptable to the body.
Yes.
Okay. So if someone put that in form of motion,
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. So the motion's been moved and second to refer this item to the mayor's office, requesting that he personally appear at our next meeting to discuss the Italy trip, questions to follow. And the members will submit their questions to me. I will get them to the mayor. And remember, we have to give any invited guest at least 7 days before our meeting in order to entertain those questions. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You have so referred.
Motion
Chair will
adjourned.
It's been moved and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You have adjourned.